but I do think they're going to get a window to work and at least get the game in. I don't know about a 6 o'clock first pitch, but we are scheduled to be out at 5:30 for Ole Miss pregame from down at the ballpark, and first pitch at 6. If that changes, we'll go all the way until 6 o'clock, and then maybe a brief interlude with Fox Sports Radio before we get it down to AutoZone Park for Tigers and Ole Miss. And this tonight in Memphis, tomorrow night in Oxford, and the last games for Coach Darren Schoenrock against Ole Miss and against Mike Bianco's number 1 ranked Rebels. I'm Brett Norsworthy. That's Bryant Dacus. Producer today is Jay Morgan Harder. Gabe is out the rest of the week. He will check with us from vacation about 3:30 on Thursday. We'll hear from his brother Alex that I think is accompanying him on their trip in his regular time tomorrow at 3:30. Last night, Bryant Dacus, did you watch the CBI? Tell me honestly, did you watch those games?
I watched a little bit of it. I was more watching some NBA other than the CBI, but I kept an eye on it.
And that's all we say at the end of crunch time. We're keeping an eye on it tonight. That's what you did. May I go more personal than that and ask if you wagered on it?
Okay, so funny story. I was planning on it. You know me, Brett. I was planning on it.
Yeah, you like that action.
I actually, for my birthday, I got an Apple Watch, and so I had to go pick it up from the store. By the time I picked it up from the store, I went and got dinner. All the games had already started, so I couldn't bet on any of them. So.
Oh, please tell me that would have ended in an unhappy story, not a happy one. You would have lost, please?
I'm sure I would have. I don't really know who I would have bet on. It would have kind of been a spur-of-the-moment thing, but
You don't want to pull the Art Schleicher.
Exactly. I'm glad I didn't wager on anything last night.
You know the story of Art Schleicher, don't you? You know who I'm talking about?
I know the name. Inform me on the story.
Famed college quarterback, great college player at Ohio State. Very tormented, really sad soul with an addiction to gambling. It cost him his career. It cost him marriages, relationships. But in a big, and I only read them for the stories, big Playboy story back in the day, I only got it for the stories. His luck was so bad that he was at a track and sent his girlfriend to bet whatever the numbers were, the 2, 4, 6, 5 quad box, whatever it was. And she runs into one of the known wise guys around the track, a pretty big winner, very flamboyant person. He goes, oh, no, those tickets are losers. You don't want those. Here's what you need to bet. Well, guess what happened?
His numbers were the right ones. She bet his.
And
oh, no.
And they had a big incident at the track.
Wow.
That really was one part of the downfall for him. So sometimes some of the action you don't have, it turns out better. But we've got a lot for you between now and 6 or now and 5:30, whatever it is. Our final visit today with the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, who has been with us, well, all through football season and all through the Tigers basketball season. He will join us for a final visit today at 3:30. And, Bryant, the first thing I'm going to ask him is this. Now, Arkansas was in Buffalo, so they were heading back that direction to get home from Buffalo to get to Fayetteville to head to San Francisco. Yeah. They left today for that. They got home and basically threw everything in the washing machine and got back on the charter. I wonder if the Tigers would have stayed. It would have been a great problem to have.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because you think about it, it'd be kind of be silly to come all the way back just for a couple days and then go all the way back out to San Francisco when you're that close.
And I think they had a pretty long day of travel Sunday getting home as scheduled. Well, with the defeat as scheduled. Right. But if they had won, I wonder if they had just set high and dry in Portland Sunday into Monday and then fly. We'll ask Dave. Dave joins us at 3:30 for the. And colleges don't often do that. There's occasionally that Thursday, Saturday, Thursday in Orlando, Saturday in Greenville against East Carolina that the Tigers have stayed out on the road, but largely because of academics, they try to get back home and travel all hours of the night. We'll ask Dave that and much more pertinent than that. It would have been a good problem to have. At 4 o'clock, Brent Beard on college football and college basketball. We will get his input on and insight on all these new coaching hires in the SEC. South Carolina made it official today with Lamont Paris being hired there. So that's Michael White going from Florida to Georgia, Todd Golden going to Florida to replace Michael White. Chris Jans in at Mississippi State. Dennis Gates, the new coach at Mizzou, and had his big announcement today. Matt McMahon, the new coach at LSU, and he got a 7-year deal with an extra year will be added if there are any NCAA trouble, so you can count on an 8th year being added for Matt McMahon at LSU and Lamont Paris at South Carolina. So all 14 positions filled in men's basketball in SEC. We will talk with Brent Beard about that and much more, including the NFL draft. At 4:30, Bryant Dacus, I'm going to depend on you for your insight and your knowledge and your great coverage of the Tigers this year. We will go through with the best guess, best speculation of who we think is coming back. We know Jalen Duren's not.
Right.
So that's kind of the simple one. Everything else, some are simple, some aren't.
No, there's I think there's a lot more that are complicated than simple. I think it could really get, especially, and I mean, we've talked about it before, just the way the transfer portal has opened up in college athletics. I think it just makes it, the opportunity is there even more this year than it has in years past.
And the tough thing for Coach Penny Hardaway and every staff around the country in every sport, they can tell you next week, yeah, Coach, I'm back next year. They can tell you, yeah, Coach, at the end of the semester in May, I'll be here for summer school, around Memorial Day weekend or 1st of June. They could be back then. Yeah, I'll be back for second session after 4th of July. All good. Then they're out of there before fall starts in August or before basketball season even starts. So you're recruiting. What is the very last point in the I guess you could enroll at Memphis and be going to fall classes, but if someplace else didn't start until after Labor Day and summer like that, you could still be up for grabs into September.
Yeah, I know we all kind of familiarized ourselves with all this back when Amani Bates' decision came down last year. I can't remember because I know I think Oregon started a week after Memphis. I think you have to be enrolled by their cutoff date of, like, you go to school for a couple weeks and then there's a cutoff of when you can add and drop classes. I think you have to be enrolled by that point.
Boy, if you didn't think coaching was tough enough, they get this. Now, again, like I said yesterday, I'm for the player liberation, the player empowerment, the player movement, because rank and file Joe Q student can leave when he or she would like. And I said a long time ago, we do not own them. And we know now that is sure the case. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant on the NFL and the weekend that it had, and really everything that continues into this week and the true trashing on the way out of Baker Mayfield. Okay, it didn't turn out like they wanted it to in Cleveland. He wasn't quite the superstar they wanted to be. I'll tell you something else he wasn't, though, that he was not. And people feared that he might be Johnny 2.0. Yeah. He was not that. And for all that losing that franchise has done, especially since the restart as the Cleveland Browns, he's been the most successful quarterback. Okay, so he didn't get them all the way, but on the way out of town, he is really getting tarred.
Oh, yeah. And it's kind of getting to a point where I don't think he deserves all of this criticism. I mean, I understand not the best time in Cleveland, obviously. I think people had much higher expectations being the number 1 overall pick for him in Cleveland. But, at the end of the day, I don't think he did anything that you can really be too spiteful about if you're the Browns.
Very well said. And he moved the tape. He maybe moved. Now I'd love Kevin Stefanski because I loved his dad so much here and getting to know him a little bit. Now, I don't want to overdo it, but I really did like him. And he now runs or is involved with the Pistons. But I've kind of been hearing about Kevin and following his career, want him to do well. He spoiled on Baker Mayfield as much as anybody. He wanted him out.
Really?
I mean, he had him last year down to just being the functionary. He just hand it off, don't do anything too wild, and he was injured as well. So we'll talk a lot with Bo about that and all things NFL. At some point, we will get to what's trending in Taco Bell crunch time, and we really don't know what point that may be because we're on tweet alert for the Ole Miss Memphis game that is set to have first pitch at 6 o'clock at AutoZone Park, with us right now planning on joining the Ole Miss Network at 5:30. 901-360-8255. That's our text line. That's our phone line. You can call us. You can text us. Get in the zone at the AutoZone text line, 901-360-8255. And as always, wherever we are always in the Family Leisure Studios.
Yes, we are, where family and fun comes together. Spring is right around the corner. Come to Family Leisure now to get started with your outdoor living space. Pools are in stock and ready to purchase. All new 2022 patio furniture is hitting the floor daily. In-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Great deals on play gyms, trampolines, grills, and outdoor kitchens. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
I want to hear from people if they've seen any of the ESPN personalities that have taken over town. Let us know at the text line. Isn't it great? And this is what if you don't think winning kind of cures all, makes it all better, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for this team and for this superstar. Isn't it great? And into tonight and into tomorrow, and with their social media, tweeting out wherever they are, whether they're eating chicken or ribs or both, or they're on Beale Street or wherever they are, if they're at Stax or whatever or at Graceland, the Civil Rights Museum, whatever they're doing, how very enlightening and favorable for our lovable place it is.
Oh, yeah, and it's definitely, because we always talk, or, people in Memphis always talk about how, Memphis as a city doesn't give enough attention because it's not a big market, a smaller market, but to have, they're bringing out everybody. I saw Jalen Rose at practice earlier today. I saw that tweeted. I think Clayton Collier tweeted that out. So, just to see, really the big guys from ESPN, they're bringing everybody out for this. So it's definitely a big occasion tomorrow night. When they host the Nets.
I've already retweeted the story that DeMichael Cole had a one-on-one, had a story, a feature with Hubie Brown, and Hubie knows the history of this town.
Oh, yeah.
And this franchise. Hubie knows the history of this town as a professional basketball town back to the ABA when he was the very successful coach of the Kentucky Colonels when we weren't very good at all under 3 different brands, Pros, Tam, Sounds. And Hubie sure knows it up close and personal with the turnaround that he engineered to kind of give us our first, toe in the water of success, 50-win season, and really could have some attachment with the team. So that was well done by DeMichael Cole. We have DeMichael on with us every Monday, and he's just doing a fantastic job. This is the pause before we get back to the NCAA tournament play on Thursday. If your teams are in it, this seems interminable between now and tip the darn ball up to Thursday night, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's just – even sitting here watching it as a viewer, I'm like, it just seems like you've gone through all these months of having college basketball every single night, and then you get to this time, and it's like, okay, now I got to wait a couple of days. We've seen this great, 4 straight days of great, but really 6 great days of college basketball tournament play, and then you've got to sit there 2 days twiddling your thumb waiting for more action.
I say this jokingly and lovingly. All of us under this building at Flynn Broadcasting, we're all junkies. We really love this stuff.
Oh yeah,
and have to have it. And this is why. And I'm joking, and I've never had treatment for it. But this is why you have to ease a person off heroin addiction. You can't just go from mainlining in both arms to nothing like this. And that's what they kind of did to us Sunday night late when I thought my house was burning and it wasn't.
Yeah. I didn't think you were going to come with that comparison, but spot on.
Yeah, it may not have been it may have been a little untidy too, but but we got to have this stuff, and I sure do. Last night, I rolled around a couple NBA games. I'm not going to watch CBI, and I'm not going to keep up with NIT that closely. But I rolled around a couple NBA games last night, but it felt a little lonely. It wasn't coming at me hard enough last night. I needed Niagara Falls, and I was just getting this torrent that we're getting in weather. I promise you, it's going to break because it's breaking where I am, and it's going to break, and I think we're going to have baseball tonight at AutoZone Park. May not start at 6 o'clock, but I think we'll get that game in. I know everybody on both sides want to see that. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Start your bracket with a bang right now. FanDuel Sportsbook, they're giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right. You'll get $150 in bonus site credit. And all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet your bracket, well, that's up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, first half, second half, so much more. Look, just keep it simple. Take Gonzaga and turn your site credit into cash. Join FanDuel today with promo code CASH. Then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit. That's guaranteed. That's promo code CASH on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the great people. The one and only Lexus dealership in town, Lexus of Memphis. 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them for any inquiry at 901-334-7673. For any car-related inquiry. Don't call them about NC tournament stuff. Well, there's a couple of those guys over there. Their brackets look a lot better than mine. If you've ever thought you'd look great in a Lexus, well, you will. And start your spring the right way in one of those beautiful Lexus cars. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking great, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-334-9673, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Brett, my top story of the day is what we just talked about. ESPN bringing in a lot of their NBA personalities for tomorrow's game against the Brooklyn Nets. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot of Memphis tomorrow on ESPN from start to finish, from morning into the night after the game. It sounds like it's going to be a fun game itself. I actually saw a stat earlier. The Grizzlies, since Ja's been there, is 5-0 against the Brooklyn Nets. So could they make it 6-0 tomorrow night on national TV?
And isn't it fun to have the eyes of the NBA world? And now moving on in the tournament bracket, the Tigers having been eliminated, the Grizzlies are really taking that spotlight. That's my top story. The Grizzlies now the big focus locally. Tiger basketball is an everyday subject year-round. Of course, we'll talk it. Of course, we'll cover it when the news merits. But now the Grizzlies are going to kind of take the focus. They have 6 left at home, 4 on the road, and it's time, starting tomorrow night with Eyes of the Country on Memphis, to have big crowds. The Grizzlies are 24th league-wide out of 30 teams in attendance. A lot of reasons for that. A lot of reasons elsewhere as well. But a magic number of 10 to secure the 2 seed, and Steph Curry's injury, it makes it likely the Grizzlies will hang on to the 2 seed. We need a big crowd tomorrow night with Eyes of the Country on Memphis. 6-4 with a win over Golden State next Monday night. Will that be enough to get the 2? 6-4 in this last 10 and beat Golden State next Monday.
I think so.
With Steph out.
With Steph out, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think that would do it. Maybe even 5-5. I know 7-3 would. Have y'all seen the Lakers' last 10? This is brutal if you're anyone, but it's even more brutal when you have one player. Here's their last 10. Home against Philly, at New Orleans, at Dallas, at Utah. Home against New Orleans, home against Denver, at Phoenix, at Golden State, home against Oklahoma City, at Denver. They'll be lucky to win 3 games.
One easy game in that entire mix.
Oklahoma City, we all agree?
Yeah, that's the one easy game, I think.
And let Gilgeous-Alexander go crazy, and that's not easy.
And he'll still score 35 points. That's exactly right.
Not
Oklahoma
top
City,
story of the day.
Sorry, Brett.
That's fine. Oklahoma, I gave you the signal and started talking. I'm sorry. Oklahoma City's got a lot of problems, SGA's not. Let's try it again. Not top story of the day.
Story of the day.
My not
Go
top
ahead, bro.
story of the day is all these injuries in the NBA. Obviously, we've talked about Steph Curry. Today, Jonathan Isaacs looks like he's going to have surgery, and he'll be out the rest of the year. We know James Wiseman, he's going to be out a little bit longer after getting so close to being back on the court. It looks like Lonzo Ball is going to be out a little bit longer. So, we're getting to that point of the NBA season. We're seeing a lot of injuries pile up.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of maintenance issues. It's going to be a lot of really starting to look to 22-23 for a lot of teams. And last night, the 76ers, they take maintenance night and even had and win without two big stars, not the two biggest in the league. And you had some people complaining that was disrespectful. Come on now. Let's don't play any disrespect card. Let's don't play any unwritten rules when you win.
Yeah, I hate unwritten rules.
I hate them. I hate them, and I especially hate them from the sport we all love.
Yeah.
And it's the father and mother of unwritten rules, being baseball. My not top story. By any definition, we were talking yesterday about who's back. This one's back around college basketball. By any definition, Arkansas is back. And with its best recruiting class ever coming in next year, maybe not as ballyhooed as that Tiger class last year, but it's close. It's really close. And we know that Eric Musselman, he's proven on the floor and in the portal that he's got a handle on these things. He shook off that loss to Hofstra.
Yeah.
He shook off that starting 0-3 in the SEC and got everything righted. And Thursday night for them, for the Razorbacks, free shot, house money at Gonzaga. Elite 8 last year, Sweet 16 this year, their 13th Sweet 16 in program history. A win would put them in their 11th Elite 8 ever. They've been to 6 Final Fours. They won it all in 94, national runner-up in 95. The debate is over. Arkansas is back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when you look at what he's done after that Hofstra loss, especially, I didn't know where we were going to go. It was kind of a point we saw similar to the Tigers, but they've definitely proven it.
You think Arkansas is back, Jay Morgan? Does that qualify as it?
Yeah, it would have to. I would think Musselman is building a program, and consistent success is a very good barometer for that, I think.
Brett, what do you think about the shirtless celebration?
I love him. I love his dad. His dad was a colorful guy, very wound tight. I remember him well. His career was really checkered by one of the bigger bench clearing brawls ever in sports.
Really?
In the early 70s, I'm thinking 72, 73. It involved Dave Winfield as a basketball player for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and he was out there dealing damage.
Really?
I mean, they had to call it was a brawl between Minnesota and Ohio State. It really wrecked Fred Taylor's career at Ohio State. It marred Bill Musselman, but he kick-started. He got it back going largely through the ABA. I guarantee you Hubie Brown could give you a tutorial on Big Mus. And then I covered him. He came to town for an NC tournament here maybe in late 90s, 97 or so, and nobody could sweat a shirt out faster than he could. I mean, he would drench it by the first, but he was wound real tight, and it ended up getting him. He passed it. Had a very severe stroke at a young age, 58, 59 or so. He wasn't quite 60. And so I like Eric Musselman keeping it loose because he's wound tight, but he keeps it looser than his dad. His dad was one speed. Eric keeps it a little looser, and I think he keeps it a lot of fun for his guys. So we'll be watching the Razorbacks, and we'll have a lot of notes on the Sweet 16. But up next, we talk Tigers, and we do it sadly for the final time of the year with the voice of the Tigers, our very own Dave Woloshin.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Begin your exciting career in broadcasting today. Jobs in advertising, sales, promotions, news, business administration, engineering, and more are available throughout the state. Find out about career opportunities by visiting the Tennessee Broadcasters Virtual Job Fair at broadcastersvirtualjobfair.com. Get information about opportunities available in the broadcast industry, as well as specific positions here at Flynn Broadcasting. Apply online now to begin the process of establishing a career in Tennessee's exciting broadcast industry. Minorities and women are strongly encouraged to visit. Brought to you by Flynn Broadcasting at broadcastersvirtualjobfair.com.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person
I'd rather
counts.
not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family
On
time.
itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Like, I don't know. Can you just pick something and order? Yeah, but anyway, where are you at? You don't look...
It only takes 2 seconds of distracted driving to become a statistic. You can lose your driving privileges, your vehicle, face jail time, or even lose or take a life. Slow down, Memphis. The life you save may be your own. Brought to you by the Memphis Police Department, Traffic Operations.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choate's Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choate's is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Alongside Bryant Dacus, I am Brett Norsworthy. Gabe Kuhn, he is out this week. He'll be back with us next Monday. Jay Morgan Harder doing a great job producing as always. And tomorrow, Jay Morgan's going to jump in on the other side with me. We're going to keep Darian longer because Bryant's got to go to a meeting about graduation. And what did I tell you when you said, Brett, I think I got to be gone Wednesday? What did I tell you about graduation?
You said, well, we got to graduate, which is true.
Don't screw it up at this point.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
You're too close to the finish line. Don't mess up graduation at this point. The Tigers last Saturday night lost a heartbreaker, but it was an end-to-end great game, calling all that action out in Portland as he has through all the years and joining us now as he has all of this football and basketball season. The voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, joins us now. And, Dave, I know through the years the losses don't stand out as much when you think of great games you've called. But during that game and listening to you and watching that action, that back-and-forth action, and arguably, I don't think any argument to it, the best tournament game so far. I know we had an overtime game, but that was a great game. Was that one of the all-timers to call that back-and-forth great action?
It was, because it was at such a high level. I think I even said on the broadcast at one point to Matt Dillon, this game feels like a Final Four game. And, it's cliche to go, wow, we really weren't a 9 seed. And I think Penny nailed it right. I mean, they're a 9 seed because they didn't play well at the beginning of the year. And I think he gets that now for sure. But that was at such a high degree of skill and talent level and execution level. Look at the number of turnovers. Memphis, which has been a turnover machine all year long, one of the worst in the country. Against the number one seed, they had only 5 turnovers. Gonzaga had more turnovers than Memphis. That's hard to believe. So really, as I think about all of this, it was just astounding that you play at this kind of level. And I hate to say it, but Memphis sort of fell to a team that had a Bill Walton-like performance, and it hasn't been lost because I got plenty of text right after the game that said, "What is this, 1973 again?" I mean, Timmy was terrific.
Hey, Dave, it's Bryant. So building up to this game, we heard a lot from the players of saying, hey, we feel like this is a 1-versus-1 seed. Could you tell sitting there, kind of seeing it in person, was there any lack of confidence going into that game? Obviously, they built that 12-point lead, but going into the game before game, did you see any, lack of confidence, or did they really look body language-wise that they could hang around with that team?
No, I did not. I've asked, for instance, to Jalen Duren all year long, I'm saying, you're going up against a guy who's 23 years old. Mm-hmm. And, he says, I don't really care. I mean, there's just a guy out there. I know how good I am. I'm just going to play. And I think that echoed it. And he actually was asked that same thing at a press conference. And I think it was when he was up against Boise, actually. It was the first game. And he gave the same answer. And I turned around to the reporter. I said, that's the same answer he gave me about 2 months ago. And that's the way I believe his attitude was. And honestly, that is the way Nolly answered it at the press conference prior to the Gonzaga game. Yep. And you just quoted exactly what Lester Quinones said. So there's 3 guys with that attitude. I don't think anything scares Alex Lomax. I really don't. Harris has confidence. I don't believe there was any intimidation. I do believe these guys felt they could play with him, and they certainly showed they could.
David, when you joined us last week, I even set it up. You joined us on Wednesday because you were traveling on Tuesday. So a week ago tomorrow, I set it up with, because I had talked to you off there. You had a great feeling about Boise, and you were not scared. You got that vibe from that team, and they sure showed it. And that game, I won't say, and the Tigers didn't blow it. Gonzaga came back and won it. But that game, the Tigers could be moving on and facing Arkansas quite easily.
Well, they go up 12 right off the bat there. This is before Timmy goes crazy. And I'm really starting to think, my sister lives in the Bay Area. I'm texting her, and I'm going, at that break, I'm going, I may be seeing you this week. Start thinking about restaurants. And then Timmy just put on a great performance. He scored 11 points in a row. You can debate all day long about whether or not he's traveling or he's getting calls. I questioned about being in the lane. I was corrected by 2 referees today that said, if you get the ball in the paint, as long as you're attempting to shoot the ball, you get all day. You can't stand in the lane for 3 seconds. If you're getting double teamed and you're not attempting to shoot the ball, then you have only 3 seconds. But you can pivot for a minute and a half if they let you and you don't get called for walking. As long as you're attempting to shoot, you can stay there all day long, and he did that. I think if hindsight is 20/20. I think if Penny were to do it all over again, he'd probably bring 2 or 3 guys at him and get there as close as quickly as he could.
Throw a net over him.
And take his chances on either Nemhard or Strother or, for that matter, Bolton shooting threes.
You mentioned it talking about people. A lot of people were pointing out that Drew Timme might have been walking, and a lot of people were talking about the officiating in that game. Being in that arena, what did you think about the officiating that night?
I think there are 2 calls that come to my mind, and they're the only two. I don't think it was a poorly officiated game.
Right.
And I know I'm supposed to be a homer, and I don't want to get anybody mad at me. The first Duran foul, especially that early in the game, most of the time officials don't make that call.
Right.
So I thought that was questionable. And then there was a charge late in the game. It's either 2 points or 4 point differential at this point. Memphis has the ball. I think it's Nolly, and I can't even remember who was the person that flopped. It was clearly a flop. And in fact, they got warned about it the next possession. But they called it a charge, and I did not think it was a charge. So those are the two calls that I would really question that didn't go Memphis's way. But that's about it. I thought it was pretty well called after that. And the bottom line is, one guy who is the best player on the best team just willed his team to victory. I'm going to tell you, folks, it's a little like we see that doggone three from Mario Chalmers, and we're going to see that forever. The way Ole Miss is going to see that three that came that ended them from
Bryce Drew.
From Bryce Drew, exactly. And we're going to probably be talking, and the country will, about Drew Timmy's willing his team when they were 12 down and scoring 11 points in a row for a long time, because that is one of those great players who had a great performance in a critical time.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I said yesterday, I think that was the near-death experience for Gonzaga. They really get it right now and kind of roll on. Let's stay with that atmosphere, though, of last weekend at Moda Center in Portland. That was a de facto road game, wasn't it?
It was. First of all, I've done a bunch of these now. I would have to say that was about as well attended, maybe more attended first and second round games that I have ever seen. The Moda Center, there was not a seat in the house. And I'm talking what we call the terrace. Some people call the upper deck. Every seat was taken, even in the end zones. It was pretty impressive because you got to remember, not only did you have Gonzaga there, St. Mary's is in San Francisco. It's not that far. Those people could drive. And Boise State brought people, and they draw pretty well. I mean, it was impressive. Heck, Memphis had a few hundred people there, which I was impressed with, considering how hard it was to get to Portland. It was really, really loud. I was trying to remember, and I think you were probably in North Little Rock, Brett, in 2008. That was a pretty well attended first and second round series, but that didn't have the 18 or 20,000 seats the Moda Center had. It was loud, and it was definitely Gonzaga.
Yeah, North Little Rock brought it. No, I was not there. If you'll remember, I covered Tennessee that weekend in
that's right.
Birmingham. I was on the road following them in Birmingham that year, but North Little Rock was packed, and they really appreciate you getting in North Little Rock because that's where it was. Brian, it's your time.
Well, I believe you. You would have corrected me if I had said Little Rock.
I've told you forever how my grandmother used to correct me. She'd go, "No, honey, there's a river that actually runs through it. It's North Little Rock and it's Little Rock."
Dave, this was really kind of the first time Jalen Duren has gone up against another top draft prospect in Chet Holmgren. How do you think he fared in that battle? What did you hear from other people of what they thought he did against what some people are saying is a lock in the top three?
Well, I don't know if he's a lock in the top three, Jalen.
Chet, yeah.
Well, Holmgren ended up with 9 points, 9 rebounds.
Right.
He had some foul trouble as well, but he did play almost 30 minutes in the game. Jalen Duren, I thought, held his own. Now, he only was able to play 19 minutes because of foul trouble. So he played 10 less minutes, and he still had 7.7 rebounds and a block in all of that. I thought Jalen Duren played well. I'll tell you the guy that really impressed me was Williams, because DeAndre Williams does not have the athleticism that Jalen Duren does, and he had 14 points and 7 rebounds as well. I thought he played exceptionally well. I thought Memphis's front line held up darn well, especially in the first 20 minutes. They were the better duo, but then Timmy came to life. I'll tell you this much. Chet Holmgren in person, he's a freak. We're not going to see many guys like him. He's got the longest, gangliest arms, and then you watch him when he strides, like he would take one try that would be 5 of mine and stats. I promise you.
Well, come on. We're 5'8", and he's 7 foot, Dave.
It's incredible how long the strides are, and he can dribble, and he can jump shoot. I mean, I'm not saying to you he's like a quick step guard, but for a guy who's 7 feet, his skills are amazing.
And he gets to do something that, Dave, that neither one of us can do. He can eat anything he wants any time of the day because he's got to gain weight.
Oh, I know it. And then I'm watching him, and he's taking a shot from the top of the key, and I'm going, there's nobody even in the NBA that could block that shot. I mean, when he wants to take a shot, he's just going to take it.
Yeah, quite a formidable team that they have. But we saw fear in Mark Few's eyes. He got the technical, and then the refs took the powder and assessed it to the bench. So if he got another one, he wouldn't be ejected from the game. Do you think that settles Gonzaga in? What I'm asking, boy, and we know the long-running, simmering feud you've had with Frank Burrells and Razorback fans, Dave. We know it on these airwaves through the years. I kid, you know. Do you think the Razorbacks have a shot against them, or was that Gonzaga's one scaredy game?
I think with Musselman there and the talent that they have, that they'll make a game of it. I don't think they're just going to run over Gonzaga. I said this at the beginning of the year. I think each team has a flaw. I'm really not sure after seeing Gonzaga up close and personal exactly what the flaw is. I mean, their shooting percentage is, incredible. The 2 guys up front are amazing. If they fall behind, they got one guy who becomes a superstar in Timmy. And, he did the same thing against Georgia State. He had 32 points in that game. And he was just average in the first half, and he came to play in the second. I think, you're mentioning that technical. I don't think that technical played that big a role because their big comeback came in the second half, and I think it was all Timmy. I think it was Andy Katz, and obviously I didn't see it. I had a television monitor in front of me, but I didn't have audio on it. But I hear that Timmy basically in the hallway as they were walking out sort of gave the team a pep talk, and then he said, all right, if they're not listening to me when they fell behind 12, I'm going to do it. And they're smart enough, Nimard's smart enough to get him the ball, and you couldn't stop him. I mean, he just made great plays. You got to figure he's going to miss 1 or 2 of those. He didn't.
No, he was automatic, and really almost no defense could really stop him. Dave, thank you so much for your time all year, for yet another great year with you and Matt, and congratulations to all y'all for a fantastic year. The season got saved. The season ended on a high note, and the countdown's on to Tiger football, and the countdown's always on to Tigers basketball, and I'll be with you tomorrow morning. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, my man. I'm just going to leave it this way, and I think Penny left it this way. I think the future is bright for the Tigers.
I do too.
I know Penny's got some folks lined up, I think, in the portal that will be coming Memphis's way. I'm not sure who's coming back and who's not coming back. I would say if I were going to bet on one thing, I would say Duran's going to the NBA. I'm not sure Nolly will be back, and who knows about all the other guys. It'll be interesting, but it has been fun all year.
Thank you, Dave, so much. Well said. Thank you so much, and we'll visit tomorrow, and we'll always be listening to you every day from 10 to 11 with Jay Morgan Harder on Wolo and Friends. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow.
You got it. You got it. Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, so fun, and another year. Boy, they roll right on by. The old saying, the days are long, but the years are short. Another year rolls on. The Tigers finish 22-11 on a really high note. We'll talk more Tigers. We'll talk more Sweet 16 and wrap up this hour. When we come back, you're listening to Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. If you love the sports like me, you get annoyed with your team or player. So Progressive's going to help take your mind off your team or that player for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they lost that thing recently, think about Progressive letting you compare our direct rates side by side with competitors to easily find the lowest option. Don't worry, your sports ball team or player will get him next time. Hope this distraction from Progressive about easily comparing rates was helpful to not think about that last game or match or season. I mean, even though I love sports ball.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
I'm Jason Horowitz with a March Madness update, sponsored by Geico. This year's bracket found its Cinderella candidate when the 15th-seeded St. Peter's Peacocks beat 2nd-seeded Kentucky in the first round. Saturday, they advanced to the Sweet 16 with a win over Murray State, and now they head to Philadelphia, just 90 miles from campus, for an East Region matchup with Purdue. Hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA tournament right here.
Enjoy March matchups like never before with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Sign up using bonus code FASTBREAK, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older and present in Tennessee to wager. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credits. Free bets expire in 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
The Family Leisure family is growing, and they want you to help them grow even more. Family Leisure is now hiring for multiple positions. They're looking for self-motivated, goal-oriented people to come and join their family. Some of the positions include sales for swimming pools, hot tubs, and patio furniture. There's sales and associates for chemicals. Parts and service department associates are needed. Service technicians, you got to have a valid driver's license, and cashiers are needed too. Family Leisure is also looking to add to their installation crews for building above-ground pools. Send your resume to Family Leisure now, 2120 Whitten Road, Memphis, Tennessee, 38133, or email memphis@familyleisure.com. You can also call 901-371-9090. So come and join the family at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun and you all come together.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number.
We welcome you back in. We wrap up this hour with this going up to 4 o'clock, and then at 4 o'clock we'll have Brent Beard to join us to talk college football and college basketball. If I threw out to y'all, which both of y'all are on top of it, but if I threw out to casual fan that would just had the bracket in their lap last week and thought, oh, I didn't know USC was having that kind of year. I didn't know Auburn was that kind of year. You know, not the diehards that we are, not the mainliners that we are, with the very awkward analogy earlier. If you ask those fans, rattle off the 3-4 best coaches in the college game, how long do you think most people would have Jay Wright in there?
Top how many?
3 or 4. Krzyzewski, of course, would be.
Yeah, I'd say probably not.
I think they should.
They should, but I don't think they will.
I think they should. I probably shouldn't have awkward heroin comparisons either. but
you did.
But I did. And then when you cut it down to this group, and we know how passionate they are, they very much get accused of squeezing too tightly. How many Kentucky fans you think would list John Calipari before they would get to Jay Wright?
Well, they'd probably all list John Calipari at number 1.
All of them, yeah, every single one of them. Maybe not all at one, though. Maybe some of them wouldn't list him at one, but I think
most of them would probably.
They would all list him ahead of Jay Wright, though.
For sure.
Now, and we know what a pro town that Philadelphia, PA is, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm an expert on Philadelphia talk radio, because I probably know more about epidemiology than I do about the everyday give and take of Philadelphia talk radio. But do you think that he's a front burner topic this week?
Not with
another Sweet 16. Not with what?
Not with the Sixers going on, I'm afraid, in Philadelphia. But again, he absolutely should be. So we talked just a minute ago. You mentioned how, or I guess I mentioned it, but how consistency to me is the mark of a good program, like with Gonzaga or these other schools. And I think Jay Wright is an excellent example of that. Not necessarily, I mean, with national championships, sure, you could talk about that and just getting there, but just building a good program and being at top of the league each year and making runs in the NCAA tournament, as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Bryant, you there?
Yeah.
You agree? You concur?
I agree. I think a lot of it, too, is just the type of coach Jay Wright is. I mean, he's not – you just never really see him or hear him much.
A lot of bluster.
Yeah, and I think another of it – I don't want to get, like,
doesn't
too
have the
deep
persona
into
Rolly
it.
Massimino had at Villanova.
But, like, another thing is, like, a lot of people, a lot of just regular, college basketball fans are tuned into ESPN. Well, the Big East, they don't have an ESPN deal. They're on Fox, FS1.
Great point.
They're not playing on primetime 7 p.m. ESPN.
They're not featured on College Game Day.
Exactly. So you're seeing John Calipari, all these type of coaches way more than you're seeing Jay Wrights, Ed Cooley's, those type of coaches.
That is a really good point with their broadcast deal. That's a great deal for them, and you get some. But you've got to kind of remember that Fox package at times instead of kind of that just Pavlovian go to ESPN. And look, ESPN's in business. They're not going to go out there and feature on Saturday morning. We're live at game day at Villanova and then hand it over to the Fox.
Yeah,
I know that ESPN, they do it for college football game day, but they don't do it as much as they used to, and they really don't like doing it after early part of September into October because CBS is making plenty of money now. They will, but they don't really like doing it.
You can see in professional sports too.
Yeah.
I mean, up until this year, Brett, I mean, maybe I know you're not a big fan of it, but up until this year, you would have thought that hockey didn't even exist, as though the NHL wasn't even a sport. And now they cover it all the time.
It's laughable how it was, especially after they either lost the deal or didn't renew years ago. It was like it was a fine in the building to mention.
They never talked about it. And now, I mean, they do whole segments
they have shows about it.
They have shows, yeah. And they're doing –
Money Talks.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but about Villanova, that's actually an excellent point as to why it wouldn't be brought up.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be here for stick up for poor little Jay Wright, but I do think sometimes he gets forgotten that we just naturally will go Coach K, Cal, Self, Izzo. Now here's one, and we don't have a lot of time, and I want to get back to this and develop this as the week goes on. Can you be rattled off in that grouping if you haven't ever won it? Can Mark Few, who hadn't won it yet, he might in less than 2 weeks, could he be in there ahead of Cal? Could he be in there ahead of Izzo?
I think so. I'm sorry, I interrupted Bryant.
No, you're good.
I think so, specifically for college basketball. I don't think you can apply that same analysis to other sports, but because of the uniqueness of a 68-team tournament that's win or go home, I feel like there are wider or larger ways you can analyze success or failure or stable programs or great programs or great coaches, more so than just championships. Maybe that's Final Fours. Maybe it's Sweet 16s. Maybe it's just making the tournament. But that's a very unique thing about college basketball, I would say, too.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's a lot about how are you building a program. Because like you said, I mean, only one team can win it out of a 68-team tournament. So, whenever you ask somebody, hey, list me off the 5 best college basketball teams or your 5 favorite college basketball teams, Gonzaga's probably going to be in it, but Mark Few hasn't won a national championship. So I still would probably put them up there.
Well, for instance,
isn't Bob Huggins a better coach than Tony Bennett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's longevity too. I mean, look at what Bob Huggins has done over his career. Yeah, unbelievable. But I think about, I'm taking up for Tubby. I like Tubby, but like look at Tubby and Lon Kruger taking 5 different programs just 100%. To the NCAA tournament is also a barometer for success. 100%. So it can be something far greater than just winning national championships.
But Tubby got his title. Lon Kruger didn't.
That's right.
Lon Kruger didn't get one, but was a great coach. Took Oklahoma to a Final Four, took Florida to a Final Four. He played in a Final Four in a game against the Memphis State Tigers in 1973 against Larry Finch. But we're going to come back to this at some point, either today or later in the week, because Scott Drew got his one last year. Mm-hmm. But who would you rather have, Mark Few or Scott Drew? We'll get back to that later in the week, because because I always, you took up the banner for Tubby Smith, always take it up for Eddie Sutton. Mm-hmm. He did everything but win one. And I thought he was always one of the great coaches in the game. 1 hour in the books. When we come back to start hour number 2, as we do every Tuesday afternoon, we'll talk college football and college basketball with our friend down in Jacksonville, Brent Beard. That starts hour number 2 up next on Sportstime.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Ever heard the grass is always greener on the other side? If you're in a dead-end job, you want greener grass. Well, My Computer Career can help. In months, not years, they can give you a new life as an IT pro. You learn from home by taking classes live online. Financial aid is available for those who qualify. And My Computer Career offers lifetime career services, which helps you find jobs with companies begging for IT pros. Go to mycomputercareer.edu today and take the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Nothing beats March Madness. The pure sound of a swish, the rattle of a slam dunk, the fans on their feet for the big moments. And the action just keeps getting better until a national champion is crowned. Hear all the action with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of this year's NCAA tournament, right here.
Tournament action on Sports 56 is brought to you by A1 Towing, Slow Down Memphis, Rural Smith Realtor, and Civil Axe Throwing.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip, also also includes Brim's chips, Felicia Suzanne's peppers, a bottle of our barbecue sauce, a bottle of our famous seasoning, some reheating tips, wet naps, cook hats, and you can even throw in a box of Dinstall's Cashew Crunch for the sweet tooth.
And Pat, this ships overnight, just like the rest.
Brett, it sure does.
Where do we order this great food?
You can get these boxes by visiting our website. Go to www.hogsfly.com.
In the Alley in Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis since 1948.
What's happening Mid-South? Are you ready for a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike? We got it covered. Take your pick, 2022 Kia Soul LX or 2022 Kia Forte LSX. We got it at $199 for 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And let your adventure begin in 2022 Kia Sorento LX. $299 for 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You got to make your move today to Gossett Kia on the Pike. Come see Bobby J. He'd love to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold in 7/18/2252. MSRP $20,960. Forte NE $461,574. MSRP $20,770. Sorrento $899,0199. MSRP $32,120. Includes all rebates and incentives. $695 PF. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and licensee. Dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/4/2022 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
It is the Big Green Egg Hour, and we thank all the great people with Big Green Egg and all the local places that you can go and shop for an accessory. I think that is a must, especially coming up on this time of year, because we get this round of wet weather and we get that through, and it looks like it's moving through, and we're going to have baseball tonight, and then we get into these good longer sun-filled days. There's going to be a lot of time to get out on that deck with the Big Green Egg. It is a must, and we appreciate them so much for being with us and having the confidence and faith in us and with Gabe and all of us here at Sports 56 to be part of our team. It is the Big Green Egg Hour, and every week to start hour number 2 on Tuesdays, we go down to Jacksonville to visit with our friend Brent Beard. And Brent, I saw you on Twitter the other night doing a couple of TV hits. Now help me out a little bit with your TV hits with your friend Chris down there. Is he on 2 different stations?
Yes, yeah. Well, we have an unusual situation here, Brett, Gabe, to where we actually
Gabe's out today. Bryant's on that host side. Gabe's out today.
We have a unusual situation where under our umbrella of Tegna that we actually have a ABC and NBC station. So Brett, the great thing about when I do a segment, as we did on Sunday night, about the Florida basketball coach, that is aired at 6:20 on NBC and 6:50 on ABC. So, and then most of my hits are at like 7:20, particularly during the football season. By then, a lot of people have gotten home. They've had a little bit of dinner, so they're sitting down a bit. So, it's a nice situation, frankly, to have not one but 2 stations.
Wow, I don't know if I've ever heard, 2 of the big 3 like that under one umbrella in a huge market.
Yeah, it is unusual, no doubt, but it's really worked out well for us. Now we also have on Sunday night an 11:30. Imagine that, an 11:30 show that runs for 30 minutes. It's kind of a
tell me you tape it.
Yeah, it's kind of a recap of the week. Now I've done that live before. And I've refrained from calling you on the way home or back home too.
Thank you, because especially during football season, I'm in bed at halftime of the NBC Sunday night game. A lot of times on Sunday night. All right, we're going to get to some football talk, some spring football talk. But Brent, all the SEC basketball jobs Well, they've been filled. We've got Michael White going from Florida to Georgia, Todd Golden going from San Francisco to Florida, Chris Chans from New Mexico State to Mississippi State, Dennis Gates from Cleveland State to Mizzou, Matt McMahon from Murray to LSU, and today official at South Carolina, Lamont Paris from Chattanooga to South Carolina. I'm going to say exactly what I said to you in a text earlier, and hit me up at 901-360-8255 if you agree or disagree. First of all, except for Florida, none of these jobs were that glamorous. LSU would have been without the scandal now attached. This is the biggest group of B-listers I've ever seen hired by the SEC.
I think what we're seeing is a lot of fans are just saying, who is this guy, regardless of which one it is. I mean, particularly at Florida, who we cover very closely. I mean, you've got a situation with Golden. I mean, I think they like what they see, but he's only been at San Francisco for 3 years. And then really not much more than that. Obviously, he was with Bruce Pearl for about 3 years, from 2014 to 2016. But I mean, your point's well taken. It was unusual in that, and look, there were a lot of people thought Scott Strickland may wait until Sunday or Monday to really talk to some folks, maybe some more veteran coaches who may have been open to make a move. But this was, isn't it funny how it goes in stages almost? This was the year of the up-and-coming guy with a lot of potential who knew all the analytics, right, Brad? And that basically is kind of what we've got right now.
Brent, another coach in the SEC that just got hired, Matt McMahon at LSU. What do you think of that hire, leaving Murray State for a job that will probably see the NCAA come down on in the next year or so? What do you think about that move from him, taking a job where there could be some restrictions in the future?
Well, it's a risk. There's no question. But again, if you're able to weather that storm, he should be in pretty decent shape. I mean, he was at Murray for 7 years, went to the tournament twice. I think probably of all these guys we mentioned, that people were more excited about Matt than they were about some of the others. And again, I think that's about with limited information or maybe more limited experience. So, but that will be a challenge to them because we don't yet know. I mean, could they get multiple-year ban from the NCAA tournament? I'm not saying they will, but with what happened, we'll wait. That could happen, couldn't it?
It sure could. Brent, Georgia could almost go out and argue that they won the new coaching hires.
Yeah.
With Mike White.
With White, certainly.
That we know is stuck on average.
Oh, yes, there's no doubt. But at the same time, as we said on TV Sunday night, look, if he does at Georgia what he did with Florida, which is most every year, it was, we're a bubble team, we're hoping to win one or two in the SEC tournament in order to get in the big dance. We may win one, we may win none, but that's going to be it. But look, with what Georgia's had, guys, if he did that a few years in a row, would they build a statue of him afterwards?
Well, I don't know if he knocks off Herschel in Georgia lore, but he'll sure knock off Hugh Durham.
Yeah, Atway would. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean,
and Ron Jersa,
right? And look, you really. You basically know what you've got with White. I mean, he, as Brent said, I mean, he pretty well is average. You basically know what you're going to get. But when you haven't had much of a college basketball history for whatever reason in Athens, that's still a whole lot more than what you've had as of late.
We talked about Frank Martin out at South Carolina. Do you think he lands somewhere else? We obviously saw him this weekend on some of those March Madness pre- and post-game shows. What do you think his next move is?
I've talked. It's funny you said that. I've talked to some people about it. I'm curious what you guys saw too. And what I've heard is he possibly could have a future in TV if he wants it. So I don't know if that's the direction he wants. Coaches want to coach.
Right.
I mean, we know that. But
Andy Kennedy was good on TV, but he wanted to get back in coaching.
That's true. Andy Kennedy really was really very good on TV.
Was great.
I remember when Andy was on and was impressed.
Well, he's a great guy.
So probably safe to say that Frank had a little bit better weekend of television than Rex Chapman did on sitting at the desk with that other crew.
Yeah, Rex Chapman had a tough weekend, and he asked for a lot of it with the Twitter presence that he has by day, and then want to be analyst at night.
Right.
But Brent, I told Bryant's getting ready to graduate from University of Memphis in about a month with a journalism degree, and I told him yesterday off the air, I'll go ahead and say it. I said, here's one standard edict that you can never ever mess up. Don't say somebody's dead that's not.
That's right. Oh yes, yes. I mean, look. If you've got an inkling to say that, can you Google it in between commercials and just to make sure about that?
Have the producer pull the plug and you go to a new subject before you proclaim somebody deceased that's very much alive and working for the company where you are appearing.
I just thought that crew in general, and they probably all are okay individually, but that crew in general, to me, just never had any chemistry at all. And maybe they'll get a little bit better. I mean, Seth Davis is they're there on with them. He's the only one on that really knows a lot of these teams, a lot of these players, frankly. So, and look, I'm sure what this was they wanted to get some
hey,
younger
he's got
folks.
a bunch of Twitter followers.
Oh yeah. But I tell you what, Brent, people look at that as the ultimate reason to have someone on television. But that still doesn't necessarily mean that you know what you're talking about, does it?
Yeah, then he opens his mouth instead of uses his thumbs. All right, let's play Crush the SEC. This was his poor of NCAA tournament effort. I was scared that it may not be teams at the Final Four. I never could have imagined it would be this bloody going into the Sweet 16 with only Arkansas remaining.
It stunned me. I mean, it really did. I thought it would be a whole lot better than what it ended up being. But now I did one. Now look, there are a lot of reasons for this. That these teams that played real well at home do not play well on the road. And I do think there was something to this. That some of those teams had gotten they were full of themselves and they had very little respect for their opponents. Now, the other thing that was interesting, and I give Blake Lovell credit for this on Saturday Down South, his stat was the SEC was 29th out of 32 conferences nationally in three-point shooting this season, and it was even worse than that in the NCAA tournament. Now, look, making threes is not everything, but man, if you're not making threes, that is a real problem. I mean, for instance, Kentucky was 4 of 15. That's 26%. Tennessee was 2 of 18. That's 11%. So multiple reasons for it. I'm with you. I thought they would do much better than they did, but they were just no escaping it. I mean, the league did a good job non-conference in the Big 12 matchups, etc. But it was certainly a year to forget in the NCAA tournament.
A team like Auburn, who middle of the season, everyone's talking about them. They're the biggest story in college basketball. Then they kind of, hit a stride where they're just kind of losing a lot of games, winning very close games against teams that people thought they'd be blowing out. Then they go into the tournament and lose in the round of 32 to Miami. Did that surprise you, or did you think that they were going to be knocked off by a team that not many people thought how we're going to be able to get them.
You could see going into the latter part of the season, something was not right. That they started 22-1, and they finished 6-5. So, and listen, guys, you saw it like I did. That Miami win was no fluke. I mean, they had the athletes to match up with Auburn on in every phase of the game.
They could do anything they wanted to.
As Brother Brent said, who does radio in Huntsville, Alabama, that game was basically over with 10 minutes remaining. Kessler, to me, was certainly a bit of a surprise. I mean, he was on the bench at the end.
He didn't want any of it.
Just totally ineffective, wasn't he, Brad? I mean, it was just no. I would agree with that, but that's a good question. I mean, this was coming for a while. I'm not sure anybody bought Bruce afterwards saying, well, we just kind of beat each other up, and by the time we got in the NCAA tournament that we had anything left. Well, and that it was a grind. Well, the reality is all three of us know it's a grind for everybody. So it really just wasn't the SEC.
I know what I'm getting ready to propose is not going to happen. I don't know how it happened for that famous 1-2 in 2008 when Tennessee came into FedEx Forum to play the Tigers. Tigers number 1, Tennessee number 2. That was a last Saturday of February game. And I can remember a time when Memphis and Arkansas would play certainly after the first of the year, but even into February one year. Right. Here's what I want, Brent. All right, we know how popular the SEC Big 12 Challenge that it is. Yep. That's always last weekend of January. I wish we would reserve one of those Saturdays in February, one of them, for you play a conference game maybe even before Christmas. Right there, they don't want to do it for that reason. Sure. Maybe even before Christmas, but leave that open for what I call a big intersectional matchup. A UCLA coming into Arkansas and a Florida coming to Memphis, or Auburn coming to Memphis, and have that and get out of that little insular cocoon that the SEC gets in, because you started this where these teams were all good at home. And, Bryant, how many times did I say during the year that Arkansas would win it all if they played it at Bud Walton Arena?
That's right.
Auburn would win it all if they played it at Auburn Arena. Tennessee would win it all if they played it at TBA. Yep. Get out of that little comfort zone and get scratched up a little bit. It'll never happen, but what do you think if they did it?
Well, I think it would be probably more helpful than what they're doing now. And I think to go along with that point, if they could play it in a neutral site, which is what they're playing.
No neutrals. No, these hometown fans are paying too much for these season ticket packages.
I know they are, and we're just dreaming about with this. But the point is, a good one is the reality is, and look, particularly when you've got these teams that end the season, when you're playing what, guys, 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 at home, that really prepares you for nothing going into the tournament.
For nothing.
It just, the tournament is such a different animal, and the question is, what can these teams do to prepare themselves for the big tournament more than what they're doing now?
Yeah, and even the SEC tournament, I don't want to completely trash it, but I'm not wild about SEC baseball or SEC basketball tournament. All I think it does in baseball is run through your pitching before it really matters. Absolutely. And in basketball, I think it dilutes you a little bit either way, with a loss early wherever it's played, this year at Tampa or in Atlanta or next year or in Nashville. You lose, I think it stings your confidence. You win, I think you think too much of yourself, and Tennessee was case in point of that.
Well, and listen, the other reality of that is, and we found it through the committee this year, is you could make the argument that the tournament really has no effect virtually on what you do. And
I will trash it. It's bogus. The SEC basketball tournament is meaningless.
It is. They just ignored it this year, and look, guys, that committee pretty well knew what they wanted to do by
on
what?
Thursday.
Sure, they did. So I hear people laughing about this, but there's almost some truth about it. That they knew what they wanted by Thursday. It spent a couple of days by the pool.
The biggest debate on Saturday was what to get takeout Uber.
Absolutely, it was. Oh yeah, and they were, and particularly, look, I can understand the consternation from Texas A&M with the work that they did. I mean, I get the fact they lost 8 in a row and all that stuff, but look, that was a tough team toward the end of that tournament. I really do wonder, and we're dreaming here again, if A&M had been in the tournament, would they still be alive right now?
So we've talked about all these SEC teams in the tournament. We haven't talked about Kentucky yet. What do you think about the Peacocks of St. Pete? You think they can make a run to the Final Four?
I mean, what they've done already is legendary.
Yeah.
Frankly, we're talking about
it's movie of the week right now.
Yeah,
it's getting ready to be Cecil B. DeMille big screen if they win 2
no
more.
question. Well, and that's a really good point. I mean, there were a lot of activity on them and a lot of tension on them. Man, what's it going to be at this point? But I'll say this: Kentucky's injuries, Ty Washington getting hurt against Florida. After that happened, they went 5-4 and 0-3 versus ranked teams. Now, I'm not saying Ty kept them from doing just himself what they wanted to do, but those guys being hurt toward the end of the year was a real problem. But again, I mean, it's a great story. Everybody's compared the budgets between St. Pete and Kentucky and all that fun stuff on Twitter, and I get all that. But there are times. I mean, Kentucky, and they overlooked them, and they went in that zone, and that gave Kentucky a lot of problems.
And it freaked them out.
Yes, Kentucky was terrible from 3 toward the end. And I'll tell you another thing, guys, that we saw in this situation was some of these teams getting in pressure they had not seen or dealt with in quite a while like that. And listen, guys, forgive me this mini rant here, but I don't care if it's the women, I don't care if it's the men. I've seen it in both tournaments now. These in-game possibilities are so poorly done. You've got these kids dribbling at half court when the clock's on about 8 seconds or something like that. So they've got to rush up, heave up a shot, or try to go right down the middle with a layup. Guys, it may not bother all like it does me, but my thing is, shouldn't these coaches and teams be more adept at these at these last second shots to at least get it off at a decent period of time
and leave a little wiggle room for a stick back?
Absolutely.
And it almost cost North Carolina at the end of regulation before they went in overtime against Baylor, and the analysts on that game made a point of that, said you went too fast. You needed to leave yourself a little stick back time, but they didn't. Brent Beard, we're out of our time for another week. We'll get to spring football sooner rather than later. We'll get to it as the weeks plow on, but wanted to talk basketball with you today, and it was fun as always. Thank you, my friend, and you have a great rest of the week.
And guys, as I leave here, mega prayers for our friends in Alabama and Mississippi and people in the way of these tornadoes and storms.
Yeah, they're at it again, and boy, they've had it the last few springs. Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, Brent.
My pleasure, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much. Brent Beard with us every week talking that. The weather south of us, we've had a lot of rain, but it's rough stuff. If you follow it like I do, I follow a lot of people around over the state of Mississippi, as Brent mentioned, in the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham area, and they are very sensitive to the weather, especially after the events of spring of 2011 down in Tuscaloosa. In the AAC, Tim Jankovich at SMU, he stepped away. Were you surprised, Brian?
I was a little surprised. I don't remember who I saw this from. I think it was on Twitter. They said that this was a make-or-break year. They had heard before the season that it was a make-or-break year for Tim Jankovich. And obviously, I think
had a good year.
Had a good year. I mean, I thought it was very borderline making it to the tournament. So, yeah, it was definitely a surprise to me.
See, and now this is after the fact. Really, shouldn't SMU have been in there before that 9th Big Ten, or maybe even before Alabama?
Maybe, yeah. I think it's just it comes down to
throw the metrics aside and just go to who was really playing better.
Well, there's no doubt that SMU was certainly playing good basketball.
When you say it like that.
But I just don't think the American is strong enough.
Yeah, I think metrics. But I know you said throw the metrics out, so.
Yeah.
You throw them out.
And they're not going to. When the NCAA creates the net, you know they're going to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their tool.
Yeah.
Tim Jankovich, 62 years old. I remember him well in his playing days for Jack Hartman's Kansas State teams with Big Ed Neely and Les Craft and Rolando Blackman. But 62, you know who won't miss Tim Jankovich at all?
Who?
Penny Hardaway.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, he just couldn't get over that hump.
And we've got a new coach in at Tulsa, Frank Haythout.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Conkle, am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't know much about him. Is that right, Jay Morgan? Do you know who the new coach at Tulsa? Anything about him?
Not at all.
I think that's right.
And Michael Schwartz in at ECU for Joe Dooley. And Jay Morgan, I know your dad's pretty big buddies with Joe Dooley. He's out at ECU, and Michael Schwartz in. And that feels like it might be the last of the changes in the AAC, except for this one. I think aren't we still waiting on USF?
I'm still waiting. I think buyout's an issue there. Because, a lot of schools are having trouble with that. They just gave him an extension. They gave their football coach an extension. I think the money's the issue in that situation.
And a lot of rumor, if Brian Gregory's indeed out, that might be a landing spot for Frank Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really so far. I don't think across the country there are many more changes. Nobody has even stepped up and flirted with Rick Pitino. Surprised?
Maybe a little.
I think he's probably pretty overt.
Yeah.
With not wanting anything.
So he's signaling stay away.
It seems like it to me.
Yeah, it could be the case. When we come back, we're going to have Bryant really take us through the Tiger roster, as he knows it so much better than I do. We'll have our opinions about it, and we want yours. Who's back, who's not? I know everybody's doing this, but it's the time of year to do it. You got to get ahead of the portal game, and whatever you lose, you got to be able to replace it. 901-360-8255. Get in the zone at the AutoZone text line. When we come back, we go over the Tiger roster for next year on Sportstime.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
What's happening Mid-South? Are you ready for a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike? We Gossett covered. Take your pick, 2022 Kia Soul LX or 2022 Kia Forte LSX. We Gossett at $199 for 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And let your adventure begin in 2022 Kia Sorento LX. $299 for 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You got to make your move today to Gossett Kia on the Pike. Come see Bobby J. He'd love to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold in 7/18/2252. MSRP $20,960. Forte NE $461,574. MSRP $20,770. Sorrento $899,0199. MSRP $32,120. Includes all rebates and incentives. $695 PF. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/4/2022 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Cobra, featuring the new LTDX drivers, engineered for the longest total distance with extreme forgiveness. Internal weights create the power core, and hot face technology delivers faster ball speeds at every contact point. 4 drivers to fit every golfer's needs. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell. Because toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
I'm here with Kyle Storms from Big Green Egg. Kyle, I hear people all the time say how they love their Big Green Egg, but what makes a Big Green Egg so great?
Thanks, Stats. The fact that our grill is made out of the highest quality ceramic allows our customers to smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all while locking in the most amount of heat and flavor in their favorite foods.
What kind of fuel does the Big Green Egg use?
100% natural lumpwood charcoal. That's really where half our flavor comes from.
How many sizes does the Big Green Egg come in?
We have 7 different sizes and all different configurations, ranging from metal stands, wood tables, and metal carts with a lifetime warranty. So we really do have a size and price point for everyone.
Where can someone go to see the entire lineup of Big Green Egg?
Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, East Memphis Ace, and Cordova Ace Hardware.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We promised an examination of the Tigers' potential roster for next year, and we're going to do that all year long at all the games, all the pressers, Bryant Dacus. You've been right there. And I think the easiest one to start with, any disagreement that Jalen Duren's joining a different tax bracket and he's not going to be back next year?
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone, and he should be. And most people kind of knew the score during the recruitment on the day he signed and as the season developed. And I think people would take a lot of pride with watching him go on to his pro career. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go numerically? You want to go alphabetically? You start where you want to start on will they or won't they?
Let's go.
Rank them. Most likely, least likely.
Let's go numerical.
Okay.
So that would start us at number 0, Earl Timberlake. I think Earl's interesting because I think he expected more playing time than he got this year. And I think if he hadn't just transferred here, he'd be gone again. But the fact that he already used his 1-year immediate eligibility, I think he's probably back next year.
I think he's back, and any discontent he has over playing time, Earl, put on the tape. watch your effectiveness. Except for that game against SMU, there weren't a lot of Earl Timberlake moments.
No, and I'm hoping to see his development because I think there's some skills there. I haven't seen him yet.
I don't know that I'd show him the door if he wanted to come back. All right, do we keep him?
I keep him. And I think there's
if it was our call, if the call's Penny Hardaway's.
Yeah.
I was going to say for a director of basketball ops, he didn't have anything to do with keep it. It's Penny Hardaway. So keep or let go, Earl Timberlake.
I'm saying we keep him.
Okay. Then to numerically we go to he wears number 1, and it's the number 1 question.
Yeah.
Amani Bates.
You know, if you remember, I'm sure you have this written down somewhere, my New Year's prediction was that he was going to be back next year. I think I'm going to change my mind on that. I don't think he's back next year.
That was on January 3rd. We need to break that. That was 5 o'clock on January 3rd. We need to find that and play that later in the week, all of our New Year's predictions.
See how they held up so far.
But you have a right to change your opinion. I'm with you. I don't think he's coming back. I don't think it's worth it. Then we mentioned Duran, number 2, number 3, Landers Nolly.
Dave said it earlier that he thinks that that he might not be back next year, and I'm kind of the same way. I just I like Landers a lot. I think he's a good player. I just don't know if he'll be back next year.
I don't think he's back. I think there's issues both on and off the court that he will not be back next year. Then to uniform number 4, Chandler Lawson, and right behind him, number 5, Jonathan Lawson.
Yeah.
How many more Lawsons are there?
This is the last one, as far as I know. 5 is the last one, Jonathan Lawson. But
it's like the kicking Colquitts at Tennessee. They never run out of one.
They just keep coming through. I'm glad you set them together because they're definitely a package deal. And for that reason, I think they stay. I think Chandler dealt with a lot of injury this year. I think once he got healthy, Penny used him a lot. I think he used him well.
Okay minutes?
Okay, yeah. I mean, fine minutes. I mean, because I think Penny laid it out. And if I've said this all year, I think if Penny lays it out to the media, he's laying it out to his players too. And he laid it out that Chandler's going to come in. He's not going to be a guy that's going to light up the stat sheet as in, score points and stuff. But he is a pretty good defensive player, and he gave him some really good defensive minutes this year. So I think he's a useful tool defensively, getting rebounds, stuff like that. So I think they're back. I think Jonathan can come in as a redshirt freshman, knows the system in his redshirt year. I think he could come in and be a I don't want to say a great player, but
help the team, though?
He can definitely help the team for sure.
All right, very controversial one. If he comes back, he will go over 1,000 points in his Tigers career. Alex Lomax.
I want to know what y'all think about Alex Lomax.
And he might go back to number 2 next year with Duran giving up 2.
Out. What do you think?
He's back.
You think so? What do you think, Jay?
I don't see – well, I don't know. I was going to say I don't see why he wouldn't play. I mean, if he has the ability to and money is no issue with the scholarship, I don't see why he wouldn't play. However, it's probably pretty exhausting for – how old is he, 21, 22?
He's 22. I mean, he's my year, so it's
probably
21, 22.
It's probably pretty exhausting for someone that's played years of college basketball to put up with the dramatic season that just took place. I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to maybe go overseas and play professional basketball for a time. But anything.
But he's been linked with Penny Hardaway since he was 10 years old.
That's right. Which might also be kind of the thing too. Change of scenery kind of thing. Nothing against Penny, nothing against its program or anything. But it's sometimes good to have change of scenery.
I don't know.
Sure
if
could
that
be.
happens.
And the next player, number 11, going numerically, Lester Quinones. I'm going to say change of scenery.
I'm going to say he's gone.
Been here long enough. If he returns, he goes over 1,000 points as a Memphis Tiger as well next year, and he's had a pretty steady career.
Yeah, and
as a Tiger,
I think that's more of I don't think Lester expected to be here 4 years, and this next year will be his 4th year. I think he expected to be out of here.
I don't think he did either, and I don't know who planted that in his mind.
I don't either. I mean, you look at him out of high school. I mean, he was was he even a top 75 guy? I mean, he was a 4-star. He's a good player out of high school. I'll
had
have
the
to
well-known
look it up.
Twitter squabble with Admiral Schofield that Lester Quinones will never appear in the NBA games that Admiral Schofield's already appeared in.
Yeah, and I'm looking it up right now. He was 58, so right outside top 50. I mean, it's very unlikely that a sub top 50 guy is a one and done. Even a two-and-done guy. But I think he came in here thinking, with that class, I mean, you talk about that class he came in with, James Wiseman, Precious Achiuwa. I think they all kind of thought it was going to be a quick stop here and then on to the league. So I would not be surprised at all if he says, I'd rather go somewhere. And somewhere where I think he wants to be the focal point of an offense. I think he'll try to go somewhere where he can be the top scoring option.
Next on the numerical list, number 12, DeAndre Williams, trying to rival Chris Massey as the oldest Tiger player ever, and John Fulkerson at Tennessee is the oldest player to play college basketball in the state of Tennessee at 38 years old. DeAndre Williams back next year?
I think he is.
And he goes over 1,000 as a Tiger.
I don't want him to come back, though. And I'm not saying that.
You don't? He was almost the heart and soul of the team.
For his sake, I don't want him to come back. I think he can go overseas and make good money.
He probably. I think you're right about that. No, probably too. You're right about that. But when he brings the good kind of crazy, it's infectious.
Oh, for sure.
But it's also the bad kind of crazy too. To be fair, you know,
too many fouls.
Because that's another thing. But also
the game this year that Dave over the air with DeAndre, please walk away. No, he's the game down at Houston.
Was it at Houston?
And he was right in front of the bench, and Dave was DeAndre, please walk away, please.
Well, I heard. I think it was his after his first game back, he got an early technical because he was just all over the place. And I think the game after that, I was listening to Dave pregame, and he goes, "I saw DeAndre in the hall, and I walked up to him. I said, no technicals tonight, DeAndre. No technicals."
I heard that as well. That was the East Carolina game, wasn't it?
I think
FedEx Forum.
I think it was.
Yeah, I was listening in the parking lot before sitting down there near you that night. All right, number 14.
Were you gonna say something, Jim?
Tyler Harris.
The crazy I was.
Sorry, Jay.
No worries. The crazy I was thinking about with DeAndre too is also talking about a guy that's 26 years old that's dealing with a lot of hype from a lot of really young players, even for freshmen's sake.
Yeah.
That can be exhausting too. Not to say he's right in his frustration and that these young guys aren't worth the hype, but it's just a human factor in it all. Is that sometimes when young people, it might just be something he's exhausted with too.
Yeah. We got to get up and hurry up, no huddle offense here. Tyler Harris, he's back.
Yes.
Everybody agree? Then a big one. John Camden.
No.
Josh Minot.
Yes.
I say no, and I
Really?
say he goes somewhere super splashy, big name.
I think so. But I think that's the one guy Penny really needs to try to bring. I mean, spend a lot of time. Hey, come on back. Let's run it back.
Jay Morgan, where are you on Minot?
I'm going to yield to whatever Brian says, honestly, on that one.
That's probably best for both of us. Malcolm Dandridge back, Jaden Hardaway back, Sam Onu.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brett. You missed Connor Glennon. Back.
Big miss.
Does he have eligibility left?
Yes, he does. He's only a sophomore.
Oh, yeah, he does. I'm sorry. He sure does. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Connor Glennon back. Tadarius Jacobs even.
Also back.
Yes. And then down to Sam Onu.
Gone. 100%. Already gone.
Coaching staff. Any changes on the assistant coaching staff? Cody Toppert, Larry Brown.
I think
back.
I think Cody Toppert could leave.
Me too.
I think he goes to one of these smaller schools that just had their coach taken away from. What do you think?
I think he goes to the league.
Oh, really?
Not like as a head coach, but I think he goes back.
That.
I think he goes back professional basketball.
Yeah, I could see that.
too.
Yeah,
that's a good take, Jay Morgan. Larry Brown
gone.
Just because it was maybe a little too topsy-turvy this year?
I think a little bit of that. I mean, it was always going to be a 1 year. We'll see how it is at the end of the year, and then we'll make another deal. I don't see him back.
In the 3 previous years, notable staffers leave. Sam Mitchell first year, Mike Miller second year, last year Tony Matlock. Only one of those 3 for a head coaching job. Tony Matlock for South Carolina State. Yeah, there will be changes in the assistant coaching roster next year And we really already have had one with the Rasheed Wallace experiment. The go-to place to sell any vehicle for some crazy good money and get your check today is in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. And you don't have to buy one of the All-Star cars or trucks. Just bring it on, even if you owe money on it. But if you're ready to go car truck shopping, the place to be is at All-Star. At Chevy Truck Month, ask for Kevin or Jeff or Drew or any member of that great team. They're talking the same things we're talking. Who's back next year for the Tigers? And they'll show you all the new Silverados and more in the pipeline. 0 interest available, and your good credit, well, it deserves that. Plus $1,000 accessory allowance, plus another $500 in bonus cash. That's real money. Seriously, these will go fast, so try to get down there this week. Try to get down there right now, and you can pre-order whatever you want. All-Star Chevy, they're loaded with certified pre-owned Chevys, lots of certified Silverados as well. If you want to shop the best pre-owned vehicles, go to allstarautogroup.com and find the one you want. Come drive one today, drive them all, pick out the one you want. Remember, it's not South Haven, not the Pike, not Collierville, or Mount Moriah. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy or go to allstarautogroup.com. We come back, we talk NBA, and at 5 o'clock we talk NFL with Bo Marchant. Stay with us on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get in the swing of things. Grab your friends, your clients, your employees, and go enjoy everything you love about Topgolf in a luxury suite. While at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Topgolf Swing Suite is an immersive social experience offering guests a luxury private lounge to enjoy Erling Jensen's extraordinary food and beverage service, all while playing a selection of games in a one-of-a-kind simulation day. Topgolf Swing Suites are great for work outings, celebrations, or just getting together. It's fun for the whole family. It's fun for golfers and non-golfers alike. They have more than just golf. They have soccer, baseball, zombie dodgeball, football, and more. Located at 5069 Sainterland, adjacent to the Doubletree East Memphis. Check us out at SwingSuiteMemphis.com or call us at 901-58-SWING. Again, that's 901-58-SWING at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Book your suite today.
Hi, I'm Tony Harris, former East High School and University of Tennessee All-American basketball player. As a former player, I assisted a lot of teammates into scoring points on the basketball floor. Now, as an experienced insurance broker, I assist communities and families with retirement, investments, college savings plans, 401k rollovers, and life insurance with living benefits. This past year, in 2021, my company, HOM Financial Services, put $10 million back into the communities of Memphis with our services. We have a team of licensed experienced brokers ready to assist you and your needs. Contact me today at 901-501-9343. Again, that's 901-501-9343 at HOM Financial Services. Let me, Tony Harris, assist you today.
Are you ready for the Gossett Mitsubishi Spring Sales Event? It's on at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Need 41 MPG Highway with gas prices that keep soaring? We got you covered in 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. $189 a month or $14,999. 5 seats, 27 MPG combined. 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. $299 a month or $23,037. Plus, redesigned 2022 Outlander with 7-passenger seating and 27 MPG combined. $359 a month or $26,998. And get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Gossett got it at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months, 500 military rebate, G4 NHF 03943, MSRP 16985 Sport, NU 006-786, MSRP 25407, Outlander NZO 6388, MSRP 292, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped left from our shipping kitchen and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Virgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Well, we waited all day for it to stop raining, and it did. And with that, though, we're still not going to have baseball. We're not going to have baseball tonight at AutoZone Park. Rebels and the Tigers, number 1 ranked Ole Miss, and the Memphis Tigers will not play. The game is canceled. It was a lot of rain. We understand that. But I think there are also some other mitigating factors that I'm trying to get a little more confirmation on before I talk about it. Because I want to be responsible and I want to be fair, but we wait all day for it to quit raining, and now we're not going to have baseball tonight at AutoZone Park. They will play tomorrow night in Oxford. I doubt very seriously this game would be made up. Ole Miss made the trip up and now can't play. It's not the University of Memphis' fault. It is not. This one appears to be on AutoZone Park, but it was a lot of rain.
Yeah.
But you have a tarp for a reason, but let me get a little more direction on that before I completely go crazy.
Can I ask you a question, Brett, about Ole Miss baseball? This weekend, a big anticipated matchup with Tennessee. Is this the most anticipated Tennessee-Ole Miss series that you can remember, at least in recent memory?
Whoa. You know, that's a great question. You know, and of course they don't play every year, so it's been they didn't even come down last year on that big Renaissance year for Tennessee. I would have to say yes, because in the days of Tennessee being good, college baseball wasn't at this level that it now enjoys. It is an impossible ticket in Oxford this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I've had friends of mine, both sides, hey, can you help me out this weekend?
Wow.
I can't. I can't do any. I couldn't get myself in this weekend. And I think they were down last night to literally like 42 standing room only tickets. They don't even have those anymore. It will be jam-packed. The weather forecast for the weekend is perfect for it, and it just goes to show how prominent SEC baseball that it's become in these little bitty towns, Oxford, Auburn, Fayetteville. It's like having a minor league baseball team in town.
Oh yeah, have you seen
with the passion of putting your gear on?
They love the baseball. Have you seen Tennessee's closer? He's hitting 103.
He threw 3 fastballs to a guy. It was like 102, 103, 104 or something like that. Unbelievable.
He's ridiculous.
I'm getting confirmation on it. I can talk about it, and it's a bad look, and I'm sure people are deeply apologetic about it and feel horrible. But I'm told the tarp was pulled off incorrectly, and and also some leakage in the tarp, and it's created a lake between first and second base.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
And I mean, it's
the only thing that would have people more incensed. Let's say this was the night the Parent Club was coming to town and that happened.
That would be even worse.
Well, and also, think about how highly anticipated, even for Ole Miss fans in this area. Like you just said, it's impossible to get a ticket this weekend to go see him play Tennessee. They're the number 1 team in the country. They come to town, you want to go see him play.
Yeah.
And I don't want any enmity directed at Laird and at the University of Memphis. This is not on the Memphis Tigers.
No, not at all.
This is not on the University of Memphis. Please don't do that, Ole Miss friends of mine. Please don't. I know a lot of people are pretty angry to drive up here in a monsoon thinking, what are we doing? And then it stops and Lake second base breaks out.
When I didn't know, you told us at the beginning of the show that it was starting to clear up your way and you'd been looking at the radar. Because I've been, there'd been a lot of tweets today saying, we still have tickets, buy tickets. I just never thought that they were going to be able to play because of the rain. But obviously, you kind of you see, hey, we might have a chance, and then you start pulling that tarp off. And obviously, like you said, there's some leakage in there. That's that definitely stings a little bit.
It was going to be a challenge, and I prefaced it several times about our coverage of it and about our having and be off a little bit early. That even 6 o'clock may have been auspicious. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That may have been a little bit of a high bar that might have to kick it back. But then to have this fumble, to have this, and it's a really bad look. And I voiced it several times last year. I know coming out of a challenging period to be in operation of anything, out of COVID, out of supply chain, all that we've had going on. But Brian, I told you on and off there last year, I go to AutoZone Park a lot of nights, and I don't recognize it from that palace that it was. Nothing works.
Nothing works, and we talked about a little off air the Jumbotron, which is beautiful Jumbotron. But I mean, sometimes
pixels.
I was there almost every night last year, and there were times where I couldn't read the names on the Jumbotron because there's so many pixels out, and I was hoping that was going to get fixed this year. I also think we had some tarp issues last year with some Redbirds games, if I recall. I don't want to say that as definite, but I do believe I remember a couple tarp instances. So to see that we're in a completely new season, Redbirds is about to get started early next month, but to see that those are still some problems out at AutoZone Park, it's a little discouraging.
And remember, the last year of 2019, before COVID hit, had that very ugly incident where the game had to be canceled because they couldn't get the field turned back over from soccer to the baseball diamond. And I know the parent club didn't like that at all, because to them, AutoZone Park was built for baseball.
Well, that happened last year, too.
It did. Mm-hmm. Oh, it did.
They made it like 4 innings, and I think they're playing the Jumbo Shrimp. And like 2 pitchers from the Jumbo Shrimp kind of got injuries, had to leave. I don't think it was
I may have
injuries.
Confused that with last year. I'm sorry. I think I did. I did. I'm very sorry for that. I'm very sorry for that. But once again, kind of a ugly scene, and a friend of mine texts me, and that's the word for it, incompetence. Nothing works at 3rd and Union, and that's a shame, and that's got to be addressed. When we come back, 3rd and final hour on this Tuesday afternoon, you're listening to Sports Time.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Gabe will be back with us next Monday. He's out all week. Bryant Dacus doing a great job co-hosting, and Jay Morgan Harder stepping up with the long, busy day producing, keeping us on the rails. We are with you until 6 o'clock. It was some debate all day today whether we would be with you until 6 o'clock. We will not go past 6 o'clock, but we will be with you up until 6 o'clock because we were going to get away a little early for Ole Miss baseball pregame downtown at AutoZone Park against the Memphis Tigers. That game has been canceled. There's been a lot of rain. Let's try. Brett, I'm talking to me now, Brian. I'm going third person, first person, every person.
Nice.
Be a little more patient with the amount of rain, but also we will discuss a self-inflicted wound by AutoZone Park and the people associated with it. We'll do that at 5:30 because the game has been canceled. Big group from Ole Miss there tonight. Coach Lane Kiffin there was part of Rebel Road Trip. On Thursday, he will have Pro Day, and all the NFL scouts will be in Oxford to talk about that. We will talk about the various Pro Days. He was at one all day yesterday with Bo Marchand as we talk NFL with him after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour each and every day, and we thank them so much. That's DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. You can go online and look at all the beautiful cars and see all the testimonials from the very pleased customers at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. Head down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, and trust, and enjoy. All the cars test-driven, all checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car just for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. When you walk in, you'll be treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment. They care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. And they know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they keep it this simple. You find the car you want, test drive that car, paperwork completed, credit approved, you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. They keep it that simple for you. You can do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now, dodging the rain, dodging the traffic. You can do it at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County, to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Joining us now to talk the NFL, as he does every week, is Bo Marchand from collegetopro.com. You were at Pro Day yesterday. Tell me how somebody hands can grow 1/8 of an inch in 3 weeks, Bo Marchand. Kenny Pickett's did.
They did. Must a lot of those hand stretches exercise that we've been accustomed to known. They did.
The joke's right himself here. Try the veal, everyone.
Yeah, it was kind of, good for him. I do remember Andy Reid being asked at the Combine, though. Someone asked him about hand size and the quarterbacks relaying to Pickett, and he kind of just shrugged and laughed it off, almost to the point where, unless it was such an exceptionally bizarre hand size where it's, beyond comprehension for a guy that's, 6'3", 220 pounds, it would kind of be, just disregard the thing. And I remember him even pointing and saying, as long as the guy can throw the ball from me to you, that's what I'm most concerned about. So Andy Reid laughed it off. And like I said, as I put in the tweet, the contingency of the Carolina Panthers were on hand. Matt Rule was very involved with, what was going on with Kenny Pickett throwing yesterday. Tony Rafacebo of Test Sports, that's where Kenny Pickett trained. Tony put him through the process of directing the Pro Day show. Matt Rule was kind of there watching, listening, and kind of being involved with what Tony was telling Kenny. So a very involved day for Kenny Pickett, and he threw the ball very well. I don't think he disappointed. Any balls that hit the ground, I think, were more or less receiver to quarterback kind of misconnection. It wasn't so much that Kenny threw a particularly bad ball. But then again, you just have a guy that's been slinging the ball since, forever, and throwing to just, guys running down the field. So it's a little bit of a question mark on how much teams really take away from an experience like that.
So, Bo, talking about quarterbacks, one of the biggest stories this week, Deshaun Watson's being traded to the Cleveland Browns. What do you think about that move?
I applaud the move. I think in today's day and age, this is not our grandfather's NFL no more, where you just, covet NFL draft capital. You refuse to move or up down the draft boards. Teams are reluctant, and it's a copycat league. We saw the Los Angeles Rams disregard, less need their GM saying, listen, we're going to go after proven products. We're going to pay big money to the guys that we think can play, and they eventually, hoisted that Lombardi trophy. I think teams are following suit. And I thought what Cleveland were able to do was a middle-of-the-pack team that had high expectations. And in my opinion, I think Deshaun Watson's a top 4, top 5 quarterback in this league. I think it immediately puts them in the upper echelon of AFC teams with a legitimate shot to probably, with a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. And if you have a quarterback of that caliber playing in that type of game, you always have to consider yourself in it.
Bo, I don't want to. I don't want to go to the mat defending Deshaun Watson. I don't know all the particulars of the case, but I do know this: the old saying that a grand jury can that a grand jury can indict a ham sandwich, that they can almost find anything. You got 22 cases, 22 allegations. You've got one witness. That grand jury basically ran from the case and said, we don't have anything. It would be a miscarriage of justice to do anybody like this. Now the civil courts can do something else, but on the criminal realm, again, Deshaun Watson under our system, it's on to the next thing. He's going to be suspended, and I want to ask you, the propriety, and Brian, you as well on this. Didn't he pay a big price last year? Why more games this year?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. I don't know if the NFL will levy that as a, or his,
time served, maybe wrong choice of words, but.
Yeah. No, it's a great point, Brett. I did not think of that. I don't know if I don't know if that'll be brought up, but you might want to reach out to the Deshaun Watson folks and definitely make that a point of emphasis.
I'm going to stay out of the Rusty Harden world because he plays for keeps.
Yeah, and even Zeke Elliott. I mean, Zeke Elliott played up to the point where he was suspended, I believe, 6 games by Roger Goodell for the, even though he wasn't implemented, but there was allegations, they still, suspended Zeke Elliott when he went through a similar process of kind of allegations that didn't come to criminal things. But listen, we're past that, and you saw how many teams valued him and what the demands were, and I applaud Cleveland again to go out and get a guy on his level in terms of what he's done on the field. He puts them right in the chase, and they're poised, they're primed. I've never been more confident about a team coming out of Cleveland. And you know my hesitations, Brett. I will stand on the highest mountain, proclaim that I never believe in the Cleveland Browns. But if I ever had to say that this could be the time, and I just like the move. I like all these teams making these moves. I love how the Broncos did what they had to do right after. Yeah, go ahead.
And think about how much money that the Haslams have spent this week on quarterbacks. We know they're out $230 million for Deshaun Watson, and I assume they're on the hook for that $8 million for the Tennessee signee in the NIL.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then you think of what they're going to do with Baker Mayfield. A very interesting saga, a fall from grace for Baker very quickly. We knew the writing was on the wall that, when they didn't pick up the fifth-year option, this would be a lot of pressure. I still was under the assumption that he could get traded. I was never wholeheartedly on the idea that he was going to be Cleveland's quarterback. Did I think they were going to do Deshaun Watson? No, I did not think that. But I just thought if another opportunity came, I really thought Russell Wilson was going to be the guy that landed in Cleveland. And when I first saw the text come through, I saw Russell Wilson too, and I saw BR. And I thought, wow, he went to the Browns. But that ended up following the Broncos after that. So, but I thought they were in the vicinity and the mindset to improve that quarterback position because I think they know that they're close. I'm not saying they're the best team in the AFC by any stretch of the imagination, but I think inside that facility, they believe if they have a quarterback that's on par with the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen's, and all the guys that kind of make up this AFC now, that puts them in contention. And again, kudos to Cleveland for pulling the trigger. They had the draft, or they had the money, they had that cap space that really I think pushed that deal over. I think once Baker did a little pushback, I think the brass in Cleveland decided, let's go back. We already know that we can meet the demands of the draft pick. And I don't think, and this is where it kind of fell apart for the other teams involved with that, they just couldn't come up with the money. And I think Cleveland re-upped and said, you know what, we're going to throw this much more at you. We know that these other two teams can't. So not only did the Texans get what they want, but I think at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson got what he wanted in a very, very large contract.
So, and you just mentioned him, Baker Mayfield. What happens to him now? I thought the Colts would be an ideal kind of landing spot. Obviously, they signed Matt Ryan today. I've seen Steelers. I've seen Seahawks. What do you think the next move for Baker Mayfield is?
I wish I knew. I mean, right now, I think you look at Seattle. I think an outside team, maybe the Detroit Lions. And then I think now you got Jimmy Garoppolo still stuck in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Who knows how this is going to shake out? I mean, I think the Panthers really at this point, I think if they elect to go in the direction of a quarterback during the draft, and who knows how much stake they'd put into acquiring a Baker Mayfield or Garoppolo. But I think the Panthers are still an option.
Right.
I would even say the Jets, and I don't want to write off Zach Wilson, but I don't know how much he
just in
really
case.
Yeah,
time to buy an insurance policy.
Yeah, just in case, because, Salah's there on his second year. They came in with Wilson. Mike White throws for, 400-some yards and some amazing win for the Jets. And Wilson has kind of lacked that type of, pizzazz, if you will, in New York. So I think the Jets have an outside team that not a lot of teams are mentioning. And, again, you got Wilson on a rookie deal, so who knows if they'll go in that direction. But Brett, you mentioned it so many times about Baker Mayfield, about him being a kid who kind of really doesn't play his best until he kind of is mad or is upset.
Yeah.
And
it's got to really get in the ditch for him, which he'd be better served not getting in the ditch. But
yeah, but this, as you said, he likes to play with something to be mad about, and if he's going to play with something to be mad about,
he's got one now.
He's definitely got one now, my man.
But because Bo, I said it earlier. He's really been harangued and borderline lampooned about his time in Cleveland. Well, he looks like Otto Graham compared to and there aren't 10 people in our listening audience know who in the hell Otto Graham is. He looks like one of the all-timers in the history of Cleveland football compared to that lineup of quarterbacks. What's that number, Bryant, you gave me yesterday? since the Browns reformed, they've started how many different people? Was that you giving me that number yesterday? No, it might have been John Hart. But I mean, it's Spurgeon Wynn, it's Brady Quinn, it's Derek Anderson, it's Tim Couch. It's a lineup of D-listers like you've never seen before. Baker Mayfield won, but it wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't. And I think when we heard it, when it came from Cleveland that they wanted an adult at quarterback, that's you can want to be a cult of a lot of things, but I think that's a very insulting statement. And especially from the quarterback. I mean, that's supposed to be the leader of the team. And I think at that point, any relationship mending was totally out of hand. And I think that's when Cleveland said, you know what, we're definitely going to, amp up this contract offer to Deshaun Watson and cross our fingers that, Baker's he's going to go somewhere. Somebody's going to say, hey, you know what, we can get this kid to play for us. We've seen it time and time again. I wouldn't write him off. I do think the idea that, did he live up to the number one pick of the draft in terms of, what you expect? Absolutely not. When you invest a guy with the number one pick, you're hoping to get at least 8 to 10 years at a high level. And we saw after 4 years that, he's not going to make it. So it is what it is. I loved him coming out of Oklahoma. He was my favorite quarterback in that draft.
I was at that Rose Bowl the year he won the Heisman. Yeah. I loved him.
Yeah, and I
love Johnny Manziel, too.
Yeah, well, we differ on that one. But, okay. But I did. But it just goes to show there's so much that goes involved with this. Who knows if he was in another place, things would have been different. When you look back at his 2020 season, his best season, and, you look at his numbers after that, if you really dig deep into Baker Mayfield, did he make throws at times when he needed to? Yes, but it was oftentimes he was so inconsistent when he kind of had to really stack those consistent throws in critical times that kind of failed him. I think that's when teams start to get noticed or teammates start to get noticed. It's noticed publicly. You can see it on television. And that's when it kind of falls apart. And it kind of unraveled for him. We've seen it. But he'll play. He'll start somewhere else. And, it's a comeback league. And I wouldn't write up Baker Mayfield off saying, hey, he's the comeback player of the year or some crazy set of scenarios along those lines because, he has that NFL first-round pedigree and teams. I call it quarterback discrimination. I think you see in Gardner Minshew. I think the Texans are kind of bypassing that a little bit with David Mills, third-round pick out of Stanford from last year, who played very well for a bad team. But NFL, if you're not a first-round quarterback, they really hold it to you. Like Kirk Cousins out of Michigan State, first round, took him how many times? Franchise tag after franchise tag. Because that same year, Washington took RG3 first round. They took Cousins in the fourth. I guarantee if that was the other way around and Cousins played like he did and he was a first-round pick, Washington would have had no problem giving him a long-term deal. So it just goes to show. I think the same with Dak Prescott. If he was a first-round prospect, first-round pick coming out of that draft, the Cowboys would have acted to give him money earlier than what we saw.
I completely agree with Dak. What do you think about the fit with Matt Ryan in the Colts?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Any fit, I love the Phillip Rivers fit. I love the Carson Wentz fit. I even like the Jacoby Brissett fit. I love this fit. I just hope it fits. That's all I can say. I mean, you look at the Colts. We know that defense is so good. They have a great running back, arguably one of the best in Jonathan Taylor. And then you bring in a guy like this, Matt Ryan, a true winner, a true guy that can lead a football team. You think, wow, this is the perfect scenario. I just hope he has enough left in the tank, and they're just kind of not retrending on has-beens instead of guys that really still have it in their game. But as of today, when we sit here and we talk about it, I love the move. But as we've seen, this is their fourth different quarterback in the last 4 years that's going to start for that team. So it shows you your question that they need a better job of really bringing in guys that can move this team along rather than guys that had big names in the past.
Yesterday at the Pitt Pro Day, do the pros come in? Does the league run that, or is that Pitt's responsibility? Who is kind of the engineer of that? Because Ole Miss's Pro Day is on Thursday, and Matt Corral he needs a big Pro Day, maybe bigger than any, since he didn't go through the combine and didn't play in the Senior Bowl.
Well, like yesterday, a lot of the Steelers scouts were involved in just kind of doing certain drills for the players. Earlier in the morning, I was at Duquesne's Pro Day as well. Mike Owens, Packers
Look at you.
scout.
That's just showing out, being at the Duquesne Pro Day.
Yeah, I had to wake up at 4:30 to get there, so it was a long day. And
it's the life we chose.
Yeah, and before I forget, Duquesne, John Clayton, rest in peace, one of the best in the business. I'd hate to not do a show and not mention how dear John was to me, and I think all our listeners, anyone who loved the game of football. But Mike Owens, the Packers scout, he kind of directed the individual drills at Duquesne during the Pitt Pro Day. Most of the Steelers scouts kind of directed the individual coaches, kind of directed the workout process of guys going through drills. Now, when Pickett threw Tony Rapacito, again of Test, he directed the players. He had it scripted out. I actually gave him the pen to do it, so I know that for a fact. But he had a list of things, and then he would say, hey, Maurice Stovall, hey, we're going to run a short curl route here, try to do it. And Kenny played with these guys, so he might just say, hey, come a little bit more in on the hash, and then they would execute the throw. So that's kind of through the process. All the other drills, it's kind of a scout community, if you will, where different scouts, they take hold of the different, the broad jump, the vert, the three cone, the short shuttle. They'll kind of take their turns of kind of running that. And at the end, everybody might be involved in a different drill. Then you kind of meet and you kind of confirm your numbers. And they're not always an accurate number. And I think you always, unless you mess up your clock, you kind of share your numbers. I mean, it's pretty sharing process. But again, I think you listen to what Brett got, you listen to what somebody else got, and then you kind of have what you got, and you kind of go from there. So if you clock a 4.88 and everybody's saying 4.66, 4.65, then you knew you were kind of too slow. But if you're like 4.67, somebody's 4.63 or 4.69, then you kind of know he's a 4.6 guy. So it's about the best way to explain it.
I would just beg all the NFL people, and I know there a lot will make their way to Oxford on Thursday. You don't draft a guy just because of this. You got to have the tools. You got to have the ability. You got to be able to make the throws. You got to be able to win football games. Matt Corral can do all those things. And the locker room presence, the bigness that he will immediately have will help an NFL team. He'll know he's a rookie, but he'll also come in and know, I play the most important position in all of team sports. I have to lead.
Yeah, and that's what you want. That is what you want from that position. And this game now suits Matt Corral so much. I mean, we know his arm. We know he can throw from here to the moon. And then he has the legs and the durability to do it on the ground as well. So sky's the limit for Corral. This is a class that we're sleeping on at the quarterback position, and I understand why. I did a piece for SI the other day, and I went back. When I was out at the Combine, I asked all the GMs, coaches that I could get a hold of about what's the biggest deterrent, not what they love, and they all said accuracy. Basically, 6 out of the 7 guys, all accuracy. And then I went back and looked at the numbers. If you look at the Baker Mayfields, if you look at Mac Jones last year, coming out his final year, he was number 1 in pass completion, number 1 in passer rating. Zach Wilson, he was number 2 in pass completion and passer rating. Trevor Lawrence was like 9th and 3rd. So these guys have high. This particular class, Zappy from Western Kentucky is the only guy in the top 10 of both those categories, and the highest amongst all those guys that we consider the top prospects of Corral, Pickett, Desmond Ritter, Sam Howell, all those guys. Pickett had a passer rating of 9 his final year. All the other guys outside the top 10 and in terms of pass completion. So a weird stat, but at the end of the day, it really kind of shows that teams really do value accuracy and that pass completion rating.
Bo, keep up the great work. We appreciate you joining us, and the countdown is on to draft, and we get to the draft, and we'll have the schedule released after that, and then we'll have some rookie camps, some OTAs, and it'll be here before you know it. We'll talk about it with you every Tuesday. Thank you, Bo.
Yep, stay safe, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bo.
You got it. Bo Marchant talking the NFL with us each and every week from collegetopro.com, and you heard him mention he also contributes for Sports Illustrated. It's getting close to dinner time. People looking for a place to go. I got 4 great places you can go. They're all under the Jason's Deli umbrella, but it's the locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. You take your pick of that. 200 Memphis area associates to make sure you have a delightful time with them for whatever meal it is, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and always in the catering business. We learned a lot over the last 2 years. They learned a lot in the restaurant business. Everybody has had to have the ability to adapt. Jason's Deli was always kind of built, for the takeout, for the catering, but they really got it down over these last 2 years. And again, catering anytime, anywhere, whether it's groups of 5 or 5,000. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Regardless, if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, you'll be delighted at Jason's Deli. Trans fat-free, healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat-free, and all that food so good and good for you. Like the salads, the Mesa chicken salad, the nutty mix-up salad, the Big Chef salad, my favorite, the taco salad. All the soups, all the breads, all the spreads, everything so good for you and good at Jason's Deli. You're thinking about going out for dinner right now? Try one of these locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. If you're in those locations, wrap it up with the complimentary ice cream each and every time at Jason's Deli. They've been with us a long time, and we appreciate them, and they always tell me, let people know. We've been through it the last 2 years, and they appreciate you for sticking with them. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. When we come back, we will not go to Ole Miss pregame at AutoZone Park for Rebels in Memphis. That game is canceled here tonight, tomorrow night in Oxford. No word yet on rescheduling, but we will talk about the game that's not being played tonight and why, and other things when we come back. You're listening to Sports Time.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all-Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip. Also includes Brim's chips, Felicia Suzanne's peppers, a bottle of our barbecue sauce, a bottle of our famous seasoning, some reheating tips, wet naps, cook hats, and you can even throw in a box of Dinstall's Cashew Crunch for the sweet tooth.
And Pat, this ships overnight just like the rest.
Brett, it sure does.
Where do we order this great food?
You can get these boxes by visiting our website. Go to www.hogsfly.com.
In the Alley in Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis since 1948.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choate's Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choates is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Home stretch on Tuesday, and we are with you right up till 6 o'clock today. No baseball tonight at 3rd and Union. We know a lot of rain today, but also a just pure dereliction by the people in charge at the ballpark. If you got a hole in the tarp, buy a new tarp.
Yep.
If you had trouble with it last year, and then you see in the forecast that from about Saturday out, you knew it was going to be all day. I even said to y'all yesterday when we were planning for today, there's no way they're going to play tomorrow. I texted Eli Savoy this morning. What's the game plan for today? I said, because unless they're going to ride around in a boat, there won't be baseball tonight. But then we get the break in the weather. Yeah. It looks like maybe not an on-time start, but at least able to get it in and then have this smacks of, and probably not as big of an event since it was 2 major league teams here, right. The night David Hirsch had his very ugly incident. Now, after that night, it led to a next great chapter in Memphis minor league baseball history. We got rid of David Hirsch, one of the biggest cons, one of the biggest grifters that ever came through Memphis sports. We now have some very similar to that in charge of the minor league team here, and they have some of those same components. They've had a lot thrown at them the last few years, but every time you go to the ballpark, every time you go to a game, something doesn't work, something's not right. It's about a halfway effort so many times, and now tonight you have this, and as I said earlier, I would beg Ole Miss fans, please don't lay this on the University of Memphis or the city of Memphis. This is not Memphis doing this. This is the people in charge of the ballpark. I'm reluctant to even say with such a great fixture in town that the corporate sponsorship AutoZone that they are at the ballpark, that their name has to be linked with this. It is a shame. They're too good for this. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve it's sure not on them, but their name, and it's been a fixture since the ballpark opened in 2000, coming up now for the 23rd year of it. This is unforced error.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see on Twitter and some of my friends that I know, a lot of people had already started getting there. And a lot of people are wondering, and obviously if it's a tarp situation, you're not going to pull the tarp off too early. But, a lot of people were already there getting ready for it. And so I hate that people, especially with the parking situation downtown, not a lot of parking. A lot of times you have to pay for parking. And a lot of times it's a machine, so you're not going to be able to walk up and get your money back. So, yeah, just a mess all around.
And just most unfortunate. And they will play tomorrow night. And in college sports right now, in the two primary sports, football and basketball, look, we want Memphis and Ole Miss playing. They've kept it going in baseball, and I just don't want anything to inhibit that, because the football series has been over and looks like it will not be renewed for a while. Ole Miss is contractually bound. There's one opening like in 2027, and everybody in the SEC is scared to do anything past that, maybe even up to and including that, because we know when Texas and Oklahoma are merged in, might go to 9 games, and it's going to be scheduling will be in a real state of flux. The basketball series last year, that was the 4th of the 4-year deal for that. That was the deal that Tom Bowen and Ross Bjork agreed to summer of 2012 for 4 football, 4 basketball. First football came in 14 in Oxford, famous game in 15 in Memphis, 16 in Oxford. Then both agreed to take a little operational pause and do something else with scheduling. That's when Memphis hooked up with UCLA in that stretch and went out to they returned the game to the Rose Bowl Stadium, and that's when the SEC office dictated to play a Power 5 nationally, and that's when Ole Miss went out to Cal. So then they played the 4th and final game of that series on opening day 2019, and the Tigers got the 15-10 win that day for Mike Norvell. So football's been over. Basketball, the 4-year deal, it took a while to get those 4 years in, too.
Yeah.
Josh really didn't want to play it. Tubby did, and Penny does. And Kermit Davis Jr. wants to play it, but that's over. Now, both Kermit and Penny, they do all their scheduling. Anything you see on that schedule is because they wanted it, whether it's multi-team exemption event, whatever it is, for both of them, they do it all. So if they want to play, I think they'll get together and play. But we don't need any roadblocks. We don't need any bumps in the road like this presents it. Just the optics of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely, and I love, especially in baseball, I love when the Tigers are able to play. The Ole Misses, the Mississippi. They have Mississippi State, I think, next week at AutoZone Park. I like a couple years ago they played Tennessee at home. I like playing all these. It's good non-conference opponents, especially with how powerful the SEC has been in the past couple of years. Getting some, and just being in the region with all these teams, getting a crack at them.
Get a sneaky win against State. Get a sneaky win against State next week. State's struggling right now.
Struggling on the struggle bus.
And I like the local matchups. I've always advocated for play in the backyard. Heck, when it's $1.75 gasoline. Darn sure when it's $3.75.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the closer the better, right?
I mean, it just makes a lot of sense, and most unfortunate now that it was canceled. Hey, y'all got your tickets for the U.S. Open announced today in Michigan for 2051?
Oh,
U.S. Open 2051.
I got to get on it.
I do. I didn't see that. I'm hoping I'm not too late.
Guys, I'm not making any plans for 51. When you're 59 and 22, I don't want that on my credit card that long.
Yeah, that's a long time for it to be on your credit. I'll be 51 when that happens.
They announced 2 years, right? Oakland Hill is going to host it in 51 and I can't remember.
2034.
34. So there you go. Two big. You can trip 2 trips in one, maybe save buy one get one free situation.
Maybe you get a deal.
I'm going to use bad grammar here to be demonstrative.
Do it.
I'm not even risking 2034. I sure ain't risking 2051 on my credit card with any charges for U.S. Open ducats. I don't know that 34 might be attainable. 51, I'm gonna be watching from the Big Sky box. I got a feeling.
Don't say that, Brett.
Yeah, please don't.
Well, I mean, it's called mortality tables.
Right.
I mean, I guess so.
Maybe so. Well, get on the TB12 method, Brett, and you never know how long you can last.
All that avocado.
But
if it takes avocado milkshakes, then take me now. I'm not drinking one.
I don't blame you.
While we were talking about rain delays, though, Brett, I did this weird segue here, but I did want to mention that last night in the Mavericks-Timberwolves game was a rare basketball rain delay last night because the American Airlines Center had a leaky roof. They had to delay the start of the basketball game.
Well, I've seen a rain delay when the San Antonio Spurs, they used to play at the Alamo Dome right after it was built.
Yeah.
And they had it was a pipe that burst inside the Alamo Dome, and it flooded the arena.
Oh,
and
wow.
everybody laughingly called it a rain out of a basketball game.
Interesting.
Legendary one. Legendary.
Did they
November
make that game
4th.
up?
November 4th, 1994 is what. That can't be right. May 15th, 1994 maybe is what it is.
No. I think November is
Oh,
accurate.
it was right. November 4th, 1994 then. Okay.
Don't second guess yourself,
shouldn't
Jay.
And I can tell you why I remember it. I turned 32 years old that night.
Really?
That day. Yeah.
Wow.
That's my birthday. That's DeMichael Cole's birthday, too. I
We
see it
got to write
on
this
his
down,
Twitter.
Jay. We got to keep.
So it's your birthday and the anniversary of one of the only rain delays in basketball history.
And playing the New Orleans Jazz tried to do it at the Superdome when it was new, and the Pistons tried to do it at the Silver Dome. The Spurs did it at the Alamo Dome. We see Final Fours there. There used to be more.
Bad.
There used to be more regionals. It is so bad. It is so bad to try to do basketball at one of these, gargantuan domes.
For so many reasons. More so, the most
Every
obvious
reason.
For the most obvious one is that it's a football stadium. A basketball court is so small compared to where you sit in the stadium. But also,
microscopic.
And think about how many extras. I went to the one in Minnesota that Texas Tech was in, and so that one's in the Vikings' new stadium. The I forget the name of it, but
U.S. Bank.
U.S. Bank. That's
Yeah.
right. But you think about how many extra seats they add in a football stadium, and then how many people a football stadium is designed to hold.
Yeah.
You add so many people, no one can move. It's not only it's a fire hazard, a safety hazard, and you can't see the game.
You tell.
And, oh, by the way, the shooting backdrop
Oh,
for the
yeah.
players. And Nolan Richardson, just the beautiful man that he is, and the answers he would give. So I'm at an SEC basketball tournament in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. And they were in one of the pressers, they were asking him about his youngsters and the depth perception. And with some very colorful language, he said, all my kids learned how to play in the street, at the park, at Rucker Park, he goes, and they play outside, and he goes, and that depth perception just keeps going and going and going when you're outside. He said, it's a big dome outside, the way he gave that answer. And then it didn't work very well. He takes Arkansas to the Final Four in 94-95. Well, in 94, in Charlotte, it was played at a more traditional arena, the Hornets' first arena in Charlotte. Not necessarily in downtown where it is now, a little bit extended, but it was an arena. But in 95, when they went back to the Final Four, it was in Seattle at the Kingdome. Mm-hmm. And he took his team on Thursday afternoon before they left Fayetteville outside in Fayetteville and practice shooting outside to try to more accurately replicate the shooting perception of a dome. It didn't work. They shot the ball horribly on Monday night against UCLA, but shot it pretty well on Saturday in the semis against North Carolina.
Since we're talking about this and arenas and where teams are playing, specifically basketball, Brett, what did you think, back in probably the early 2010s when we had these basketball games done on the aircraft carriers and stuff? You remember those?
I file that under worth trying,
right?
But also I file it under trying too hard.
Yeah.
But for if it got young men or women to sign up for the services, or if it brought a day of entertainment to those serving, I always want to yield to that. But I think it was Michigan State in one of those games, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
had the camo jerseys.
It was a bricklayers convention.
Oh yeah,
it was some just awful shooting, and I don't ever want to get too much buttonholed of let's don't try that. We've always done it this way. I think that's doomed for failure. But also sometimes you're trying a little too hard.
Yeah.
And there was one year there was a whole safety concern as well because of the condensation on the court because they're out at sea, So they get condensation on the court and everyone's slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yeah,
you're at sea, anchors away.
Yeah.
Hey.
You have everything but Bush's mission accomplished sign up. I mean, you're out at sea. But we will take you up to 6 o'clock. We normally break at this time before we get to Taco Bell Crunch Time. We're not going to do that today. We're going to take you right up to 6 o'clock.
No,
join Fox.
We still have this break here, Brett. I'm sorry. That was a misunderstanding by me.
Well, let's take it now. When we come back, we wrap up the day with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Begin your exciting career in broadcasting today. Jobs in advertising, sales, promotions, news, business administration, engineering, and more are available throughout the state. Find out about career opportunities by visiting the Tennessee Broadcasters Virtual Job Fair at broadcastersvirtualjobfair.com. Get information about opportunities available in the broadcast industry, as well as specific positions here at Flynn Broadcasting. Apply online now to begin the process of establishing a career in Tennessee's exciting broadcast industry. Minorities and women are strongly encouraged to visit. Brought to you by Flynn Broadcasting at broadcastersvirtualjobfair.com.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Nothing beats March Madness. The pure sound of a swish, the rattle of a slam dunk, the fans on their feet for the big moments. And the action just keeps getting better until a national champion is crowned. Hear all the action with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of this year's NCAA tournament, right here.
Tournament action on Sports 56 is brought to you by A1 Towing, Slow Down Memphis, Rural Smith Realtor, and Civil Axe Throwing.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today, I really learned it yesterday, but I didn't have enough time for it yesterday, so I learned it today again. Al Michaels is in agreement with Amazon to become their voice for Thursday Night Football. He's going to join Kirk Herbstreit on the broadcast, and it said he's going to get paid Joe Buck money, and as we talked about it last week, Joe Buck, his new contract with ESPN is worth roughly $65 to $70 million over his 5-year deal.
You think they all will send fruit baskets at the holidays to Tony Romo for raising the price of doing business? Because he did.
Should,
and you have to have the first. You have to have the rabbit. Baseball had Catfish Hunter. Well, I guess Kurt Flood was really the first one, but Catfish Hunter, the first big free agent. You got to have the first one. So on Thursday night, we're going to have is Dennis Miller would always call him Albino. So we'll have Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on Thursday on Amazon, right?
Yep.
Sunday night, we will have Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth on NBC, and Monday night, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
I believe that's what it is, yeah.
And the Manning boys riffing on as well on Monday night. Oh, yeah.
Star-studded.
Star-studded.
Oh, yeah. If the games are good, you don't need anybody, and if they're not very good, you got all that talent.
That's true.
What I learned today is Phil Mickelson, he did this one to himself. You talking about self-inflicted wounds. And aren't they, whether it's almost in any walk of life? Look, I know the worst fella in my life to me has been me. I mean, I've done some of the worst things you can do to a person. I've done them to myself. And he's done this to himself. The PGA champion, not even going, as reigning PGA champion, not going to be at the Masters first time that he will have not played at the Masters since 1994. He played on the edge for years with comments. It was almost open mic night for Lefty, and it got him. And it got him hard.
Yeah, and we talked about it a lot when this story came out. I mean, what he's done for the city of Memphis, coming here every year, it's been great.
He's been great.
One of my favorite golfers personally, but it's definitely sad to see it. I'm definitely going to miss him. What I could have done without, a couple of things. First off, this game tonight between Memphis and Ole Miss being rained out and canceled. But second, John Morant not going to play tomorrow night against the Brooklyn Nets. I thought that he was going to play, missed that game against the Rockets on Sunday. I thought, I said doubtful. I thought that meant, leave him out this game, let him rest up for Wednesday night. But just came down about an hour ago. John Morant will miss tomorrow night's game against the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, and then we got the back-to-back on Thursday night against Indiana. And this is a time that the Grizzlies, they don't have a lot of margin for error to hang on to that too. So tomorrow night without him against the star-studded Nets, then on Thursday night it'd just be human nature to have a little letdown from the almost like a bowl game type atmosphere around tomorrow night's festivities, with ESPN dedicating a lot of coverage to it, putting Memphis in such a favorable light, and we sure want that and sure need that, and we want the whole country to see what we see each and every day, the real good side of Memphis, even sometimes with some of the foibles and mistakes like this occurred today at the ballpark happened. That's not always. No. It's not us always. I could have done without Kenny Pickett's flipping hand sizes. Come on now. Are we down to this point in the draft? Well, we are. And we got to get through this. But we're getting past combine. We're getting past the recone shuttle. We're getting past hand size. Who knew your hands can grow 1/8 of an inch in 3 weeks?
They need to do studies on his hands. Remarkable.
I'll leave those jokes to Hardenwood and John Harden tomorrow to fill in on 1/8 of a size on anything else anatomically. I'll leave it to him on that one. But we're going to get past all this, and we're going to get down to my favorite part of the run-up to the draft. Put on the tape. Put on the tape and let me see him playing tackle football. And when I saw Kenny Pickett playing tackle football, thought he was really good, regardless of how big his hands are.
I had no idea how big his hands were. Made the
Never
throws.
knew. Did you ever know last year it was little hands Kenny Pickett
had no idea.
Playing so well for Pitt?
I knew he had little hands when the combine came around.
Is that what cost the Western Michigan game?
I've done some thinking about that. Maybe.
Now, the only thing I know about Matt Corral's hand size, I've shaken hands with him, and it's got that feel to it of, what did you just do with my hand? Where did it go? I mean, it just kind of engulfed it. So I'm thinking good hand size numbers for Matt Corral.
Gotta be. I hope so. What we're going to watch tonight, Brett, I know I talked to you about it last night. What a night we have in college hoops tonight. What a night.
Right.
Let me give it to you. We'll start off
Vandy,
with
the Doors.
The Doors.
The Doors.
The Doors at 8 o'clock tonight. They play Xavier. Xavier, as we know, is getting a new coach here soon, but they're still fighting their way through the NIT.
To go to the Garden. This is the game to go to the Garden, isn't it?
I'm not watching the NIT. You
also,
can't make me. Please don't make me.
At 6 o'clock. Brett, turn on
This
your
is
TV right now.
Guantanamo
We're
with
getting
sports
ready.
treatment.
St. Bonaventure versus Virginia. We've talked so much about the Bonnies. They were the darling at the
Mr.
beginning of the
November.
season. Exactly. They were supposed to make the tournament. Now they're taking on Virginia. ESPN 6 o'clock. Now, it gets better. The CBI, Brett. The CBI.
You
ESPN
lost me
2.
there. Sorry.
UNC Wilmington, Northern Colorado, then Middle Tennessee State. We got to cheer on our neighbors next door in Middle Tennessee. They're taking on Abilene Christian at 8 o'clock. Both those games, ESPN 2. We dig a little deeper. The basketball classic.
Do we have
Southern
to?
Utah versus UTEP. That's tonight on ESPN Plus
record
at
books
8.
out.
Can't wait.
Now, come on now. You threw a new baseball metric at me with CBI. Isn't that catching, bunting, and innings all wrapped into one?
That's right.
Isn't CBI really that?
That's what they work on in spring training, I think.
Exactly. But it's also
I mean,
a basketball tournament. Don't get confused, Brett. Don't get confused.
Seriously, for as much as we all love baseball, you can turn on MLB Network, and they have some of the big brains on there. They're talking a foreign language with all the slashes and all. I'm going, what happened to batting average and RBI?
Yeah.
And I can remember a time when RBI was RBIs with bad grammar and all.
Yeah.
I'm watching tonight. I'm watching the Warriors. They will be playing the Magic tonight. No Steph. Should be no worries for the Dubs against the Magic. If anything grows in the world of NFL draft choices, we'll keep. Well, I don't know if I want to keep an eye on hand size growing tonight, but maybe time lapse photography will do that. Also, 42-29 Bulls versus the 44-27 rather Milwaukee Bucks. They're really jockeying for that 2 through 5, maybe even the 1 still in play, but really 2 through 5 up for grabs in the East. It's going to be. They've got to keep legitimate rosters out there most night to try to pin down a seed spot. Clippers and Nuggets late. What are you that interested in any of the NBA?
Yeah. You probably asking Brian. I apologize, but I'm really interested in that Bulls-Bucks game. The Bulls off a tough back-to-back. They had to play the Raptors last night, who were really competitive in the East as well. And so the Bulls might have gotten the Raptors last night because the Raptors are off a back-to-back. Maybe the Bucks get the Bulls tonight because the Bulls are off a back-to-back. Trade off.
And,
maybe.
And crowds are back in Toronto. I saw a huge crowd there. When did they do that? They booted the truckers?
It must have been because I saw the same thing in hockey. Not that anyone cares about what we saw in hockey, but they're getting out there now.
I kid truck drivers.
Well,
I love y'all.
Jay Morgan, I'm glad you brought up hockey because a question that's usually asked to me most of the time by Gabe, sometimes by Brett. You got any action tonight?
I love the Rangers tonight.
Do you love the Rangers tonight? What all on the Rangers do you have tonight?
Did you just go the hockey before Stanley Cup playoffs?
He
That's
did.
against the rules here at Flynn Broadcasting on Sports 56. We do not talk hockey except for Stanley Cup playoff time.
I take it back.
No, Jay Morgan is a huge New York Rangers fan.
Not really.
Tell me the last time the Rangers won Lord Stanley's Cup, Jay Morgan.
Well,
You're
Brett,
such a fan.
Well, Brett, I've only been a Rangers fan for a day, so I'll have you tell me when the last time the Rangers won a Stanley Cup.
1994. Mark Messier, and that was the first time they had won it since 1940.
Wow. A big gap. God, they're the Knicks of hockey.
They kind of are the Maple Leafs.
That's right.
Maple Leafs haven't won it since '67.
Oh man, doesn't that make them mad that 2 back-to-back Stanley Cup trophies have gone to the state of Florida? That has to just make those Canadians so upset.
Is it fair for me to come off the top rope with hockey?
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
That's up there with Chester Markole and Charlie Scott from yesterday, isn't it?
Like I told you, Fred, all you need is Mark Mosley in there, and you're good to go.
Man.
Old number 3, Mark Mosley. We want to thank a lot of people. First of all, we want to thank our listeners. We want to thank our sponsors so much, but also Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, joining us. Last time we'll visit with Dave, unless some news breaks, we'll check in with him, and you can always hear him 10 to 11 every day on these airwaves. I want to say thank you to Brent Beard and also to Bo Marchant. For Bryant, For RJ Morgan, I'm Brett. We want you to stay with us as we're getting ready to go to Fox Sports Radio. Again, no baseball tonight at AutoZone Park, but we will be back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock for another edition of Sports Time. Gabe Kuhn will be back with us next week, but we'll hear from the big brother tomorrow, Alex Kuhn. He'll be one of our guests, as always, on Wednesday. We thank you so much for listening today. We'll talk to you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Good night, everyone.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting